Good afternoon, all of you online. No, we will not have the class tomorrow. Tomorrow you have an off. So, good afternoon, Avinav, Abhishek, Suravjeet, Ashutosh, to you too. All right. Okay. आज फिर आपको लिखना है बहुत सारी बातें, तो आप शुरू हो जाएं. मुर्गा हाँ भेज देना मुझे. Okay. Can you help me with what was the last thing that we did yesterday? Fine. Challenges. So, we begin with this. Way forward for Indian exports. All right. होली नहीं, वो मना कर रहे हैं सब बच्चे, सब कह रहे हैं कि बिल्कुल नहीं. She is doing okay. She'll take time. I have to explain to her that I met her when I was 15, but now I am close to 50, so she should understand that. I was telling her this the other day when I went to see her. मैंने उनको बोला, मैंने कहा जब मैं आपसे मिला था तो 15 का नहीं था, लेकिन अब 50 का हूँ. आप समझिए इस बात को. I can't rush like that. But anyways, she said that for me you will always be 16. I said you make me feel so nice that now 2 more times if you call me I'll come. But she's improving. She actually has a big cough issue. It all gets congested and then she cannot breathe. And with mothers and fathers, you know how it goes. Like they don't listen to you when they are old. I have lost my biological mother and father, but she is no less to me. So उनको भी समझाना मुश्किल रहता है. Whether it is hot, cold, she would go with cold water and take her bath. And then over 7, 8, 10 days, she was with us, or we were with her, till last two months back. It was only in January that when I went to Jagannath Puri, on the way back, I left her in Kolkata, came back. तो मैं उनको बोल भी रहा था, मैंने कहा मेरे बिना आपका काम नहीं चलता, आप हमारे साथ ही आ जाओ वापस. But let us see. And then those traditions that we have in our society, she says can't live in the daughter's family. I said after 20 years of marriage, husband and wife look alike. So you won't be able to distinguish who is your son, who is your daughter. Come along. But let's see this then. हंसो मत, तुम लोग भी दिखोगे बेटो. कोशिश ये रखना कि तुम ही उनकी तरह दिखो. अगर वो तुम्हारे जैसी दिखने लगी तो और आफत हो जाएगी. उसमें भी कोई दिक्कत थोड़ी है, मेहनती लोग होते हैं भाई. Okay, let's get going then. So we write on way forward for Indian exports, and you write the first point in that. 1. First point is a combination of all the points. I won't make you write all the points, but all structural reforms that you wrote in industries will come here. All right, so you just write all structural reforms of industries. All structural reforms of industries. All structural reforms of industries. That is your first point. The जितने भी reform, अगर exam में बड़ा आंसर इसी पे लिख रहे हो, तो industrial reforms को expand कर दोगे. All right, like ease of doing business reforms, land acquisition reforms, labor market implementation, everything that you wrote there in industries, everything comes in here. All right. Then second point you write, India should diversify its markets India should diversify its markets by targeting East Asia. I repeat, India should diversify its market by targeting East Asia, comma, West Asia, comma, North Africa. In fact, they are called MENA countries, Middle East, North Africa. West Asia, North Africa, they are called MENA, MENA countries, Middle East, North Africa. So, North Africa, comma, Southern Pacific, and and Eastern Europe, in order to protect itself from sudden shocks, in order to protect itself from sudden shocks. All right, so that is one thing that India is expected to do. Second, you write. Third, yeah. India should diversify its commodity basket. India should diversify its commodity basket of exports by developing lower end manufacturing, like footwear, comma, toys, comma, food processing, comma, small electrical appliances, comma, small electronic appliances, etc., to assure that there is a larger basket of commodities full stop. This can be achieved better by shifting to industrial textiles, comma. Now remember, India is still producing a lot of man-made textile, but the world has shifted to industrial textile. That is why I am specifically mentioning it, that India produces a lot of man-made textile, and that is why we are losing a lot of our export market. The world is producing a lot of industrial textile, all right, or demanding a lot of industrial textile. Industrial textile is what you see for covering buildings, for making packages. That's your industrial textile, all right. So industrial textile, comma. Similarly, there should be larger production of non-leather footwear So again remember, India is still sticking to leather footwear. It's passé, it's outdated. Many people are now wearing non-leather footwear. Alright, so that is what we should also gradually move towards. But Chinese produce a lot of non-leather footwear, Vietnam produces a lot of non-leather footwear. So India should also try shifting towards non-leather footwear. Alright. Then in the same thing you write, and producing more furniture and without plastic toys. More furniture and without plastic toys. Again, Indian toys have a lot of plastic in it. That is something we can get rid of. Plastic, lead at times. Lead thankfully we have reduced a lot, but plastic is still there. And then with toys what happens is that people get sensitive. Even the colors that we use while making the toy, the children will keep chewing it. Alright, वो उसको अपना chew करते रहते हैं, उनको अकल उससे ज़्यादा होती नहीं है. तो आप किस तरह के उसमें कलर यूज कर रहे हैं, क्या मटेरियल यूज कर रहे हैं, for export possibility and for high value consumption possibility, it matters a lot. Alright, that is the aspect. So gradually as the world demand changes, we need to make sure that we adapt to those changes. That is the aspect. If we adapt to those changes, we are doing much better. That is one aspect per se. Now, then you take further, you write the fourth point. Inverted duty structure should be revised. Inverted duty structure should be revised to make Indian exports more competitive. Inverted duty structure should be revised to make Indian exports more competitive. I hope it explains itself because that is the key factor. Improve upon inverted duty structure, as in when we use the term inverted duty structure, the basic idea is that we are talking about making raw material. I'll tell you why I'm explaining it to you, otherwise we wouldn't have needed it. The basic idea is that we should make the raw material import duty come down. What we have done in India is, in order to improve the inverted duty structure, we have increased the import duty on finished goods. Now that is double whammy, you don't need to do that. If we increase import duty on finished goods, that means even they become more costly for people to produce and then sell out from India. So that should not be done. Rather what we should do is gradually think about reaching an import duty limit of something in the zone of 8, 9, 10%. Alright, that is what we should think about, that reach an import duty. Like right now the average import duty is 15%. East Asians have an average import duty of 5-6%. Chinese SEZ have an average import duty 0%. So we got to make sure that we catch up. And how do we catch up? By making our average import duty in the sub 10%. Average import duty. So commodities about which we are very sensitive, we can keep them in the high import duty category. But commodity about which our sensitivity is low, we can reduce the import duty. Similarly, there are certain commodities about which we are sensitive today because of our own lack of development. For example, the way we produce milk. Now that's unhygienic and we are unable to export. But if we can develop upon that and produce hygienic milk, then we can always say that, okay, let people from Australia come and sell in India, or New Zealand come and sell in India, but India won't still lose out. So again I repeat, which I've kept saying, it's more about making India more competitive rather than anything else. The focus should be that, make India more competitive. And then you write one more point. Currency should not be kept overvalued. Currency should not be kept overvalued. Next, then you write labor intensive service exports, labor intensive service exports like tourism, labor intensive service exports like tourism should be promoted, should be promoted through better connectivity, through better connectivity, comma, comma, improved hospitality sector. I can believe you understand this. Improved hospitality sector means better hotels, better living conditions, better treatment of the tourists. Staring is not okay. That is the point. So if there are tourists who don't look like us, there is no reason to stare. It's okay to feel a little unnerved by seeing people. Like I've been to various places in my life, and it's very normal across the world that when you don't look like the people where you have gone, then they would give you a look that, okay, this fellow doesn't look like us, so must be a tourist. But, stares and glares, अब देखे ही जा रहे हैं, क्या तो ये थोड़ा सा uneasy कर देता है लोगों को. हमारे यहाँ थोड़ा वो सिखाना जरूरी है, that how do you treat tourists, how do you work out with them. So that, and I say this jokingly, of course, but this becomes a very important factor about whether you will have a revisit or not. See, the biggest way in which tourism is boosted is to induce the person to come again. All right, but you can make people to come again only when you make sure that they have received good treatment the first time that they came over. So it's very important that we keep that in mind when we talk about tourism promotion. And why do we keep insisting on tourism? It's one of the better job creating sectors and revenue earning sectors, both. Tourism gets us revenue earning not only in terms of tourists coming to India spending money on traveling, etc. Revenue also in terms of purchases that they make. They will buy a lot of knickknacks, they will be buying a lot of memoirs, and all that again, all that again means that makes things much better. I must have already told you about how Damchi Sahab make differences. So that is the whole idea, that they come, they pay money, and they are the people who will pay even higher price to buy the product. So that is the idea. And then without any doubt it creates soft power. What kind of tourism India can develop? Lot of kind of. For example, health tourism, cuisine tourism, authentic Indian food, and make a tourism plan according to that. Health tourism is of course already catching up in India. We can provide good enough healthcare services at much lesser price than the world price. Nature tourism, eastern side of India, southern side of India, Kerala, Manipur, Nagaland, wonderful scenic, Arunachal Pradesh, wonderful scenic beauties. So that is something where nature tourism can be practiced. That is another thing that we can plan of. Another thing we can plan is religious tourism. Religious centers, connecting them and creating a religious tourism spot practically for every religion of this world. That can be done. Again, historical cultural tourism. Religion can be a part of it, but religion need not necessarily be a part of it. Make it a historical, cultural, secular tourism thing. Forts of India and palaces of India and so on, that can be also shown. Like it's not only the religious aspect of our temples and mosques and gurudwaras and synagogues, etc., or churches, it is also the architectural aspect of it that promote that. हमें पहले एक बात समझनी होगी, जो दुनिया के अमीर देश हैं वो हमारी तरह अपने बच्चों को बड़ा नहीं करते. हम अपने बच्चों को नर्सरी से बिठाते हैं और बोलते हैं अब तुम पढ़ाई करो, इसके अलावा अगर कुछ किए तो तुम्हारे मुंडी को लट्टू की तरह घुमा देंगे. That is the way we develop our children. But the developed economies develop their children. No, I'm honestly telling you, yesterday night they were having My younger son has gone to 10th standard. They were having this orientation session for parents of children who are in 10th standard now. And the principal, it was thankfully online, so I could attend it. And the principal was saying that we should not put more pressure on the children. You know, I found it very strange. And then after 10-15 minutes she spoke, and then she said that if parents have something to say. I said, ma'am, we have started the pressure by keeping this orientation session. You never kept this orientation session in 9th, never in 8th, never in 7th. Why 10th? Make them feel normal. Then my wife said, you leave. Now, this is below the belt. It doesn't help, you know. But she said, why don't you go? You read, you have a lot of work to do. So she was politely telling me that you get lost, you know. But the principal was saying, speak something, ask a question. So she said, you are free to speak anything. Now, I felt I'm free to speak anything. So I actually felt it that, you know, this is not valid, that why do we have these orientation session for children in 10th standard? Either have this orientation session from 1st standard onwards, that the child doesn't feel anything new. 2nd mein aaye, 3rd mein aaye, they have an orientation session, okay. 10th also they have an orientation session. All details about tests will be conducted like this, and we will help the child like this. This many marks they need to score. If they are below 1/8 of their group, they will not be graded A1. Let them not be. I was about to say that also, but as I told you, I was kicked out. You know, why should we put the pressure on our children that you got to score an A1? We should rather try checking whether they know. I again repeat. If they will know, then maybe A1 or A2 will not matter, because the bigger factor is they know. That is why I am telling you that it's important that we make sure that we educate our next generation and current generation, rather than focusing on making them read and write and cram and mug up. That doesn't help. My only point is throughout that, because I've spent my life in education, there should be someone to tell us what happens if I don't succeed. It's as simple as that, because success and failure are ephemeral, they don't last very long. तो कोई बताने वाले होने चाहिए कि हाँ भाई इस एग्जाम में तुम्हारे अच्छे नंबर नहीं आए तो तुम क्या करोगे? नहीं आए तो ये कर लेना, कोई बात नहीं है. क्यों आपको बता रहा हूँ? क्योंकि यही हम अच्छे बच्चे जो होते हैं, आप हो, मैं भी था अच्छा बच्चा, हम जब तक सक्सीड करते रहते हैं हमें बड़ा मजा आता रहता है. Then of course there will come one day when we won't succeed. I have a student, some of you might have met him at times, he comes, visits me very often, he's called Amit. He's in service now. Imagine his career record. He is from IIT, 52nd rank JEE. And वो IIT से उन्होंने अपना इंजीनियरिंग किया. उसके बाद पहले अटेम्प्ट में यूपीएससी में इंटरव्यू तक पहुंचे. उनको मैं अच्छे से इसलिए जानता हूं क्योंकि उनके जो दीदी और जीजा जी हैं वो भी मुझसे ही पढ़े हुए हैं. तो फैमिली बिजनेस हो गया मेरे लिए. तो और सब लोग इकोनॉमिक्स वाले ही थे, तो मुझे ज्यादा आप लोगों से ज्यादा दोस्ती हो जाती है, रोज मिलता हूँ. सो एंड बोथ ऑफ देम आर नाउ IAS, बोथ हिज सिस्टर एंड हिज ब्रदर इन लॉ. तो वो लोग भी पढ़े हुए थे, वो तो अमित भी उन्हीं के रेफरेंस पे आए. अभी पहले अटेम्प्ट में उन्होंने इंटरव्यू क्लियर किया, इंटरव्यू तक पहुंचे. सेकंड अटेम्प्ट में उनकी नौकरी हो गई. अभी थर्ड अटेम्प्ट में फिर से इंटरव्यू दे रहे हैं इंप्रूवमेंट के लिए. एंड वन डे ही वाज सिटिंग डाउन एंड सेइंग, सर आई फील आई एम एन एब्जेक्ट फेलियर. इट हैज बीन 3 years of attempting and I'm still not an IAS. I said, come, let's go to the 4th floor of this building, then I will throw you down. And then we will call it an accident. I'll say that accidentally he fell down, because in any case he was saying things which are insane. I said, what you have achieved, people will give their life to achieve that. And you are saying I'm an abject failure. That 3 attempts have happened, and then I'll tell you what was the reality. I told him that. I said, the problem is you are not used to this. You are used to doing things that, okay, I was a topper till 10th and topper till 12th, and then IIT qualified in the first attempt, and then IIT I was the topper, and then I come out, write a civils exam, I reach interview. I remember when he did not clear the first attempt, he was crying profusely. वो जोर से रो रहे थे. मैंने उनको बोला, मैंने कहा पहले अटेम्प्ट में इंटरव्यू पहुंच गए हो, इसमें रोने की इतनी बात नहीं है, तो हंसने की बात है कि तुम इंटरव्यू तक पहुंच गए हो, अगले अटेम्प्ट में हो जाएगा तुम्हारा. हो भी गया, he qualified the next attempt. But my point is, that is about not being prepared. मैं उनको भी हमेशा बोलता हूँ, आप लोगों से भी बोलता हूँ. अब उसकी दिक्कत क्या होती है पता है? अगर बाई चांस आप फेलियर नहीं हुए कभी, अब आपने अपना एक प्लान बनाया, and it's not necessary that plan will succeed when you are implementing it on the ground, because you are not the only person in the part of that. Because we have developed a lot of IQ in you, but we forgot developing EQ in you. but emotional intelligence, emotional quotient among the humans. You need to take people around and work. You need to make sure you understand what your teammates are wanting. And when do they want that? How to motivate them to do what you would like them to do. No, we believe in being dismissive. अब देखना मुझे थोड़ा टेंशन हो रहा है. क्या टेंशन हो रहा है? टेंशन की कोई बात ही नहीं है. बहुत से बहुत तुम फेल हो जाओगे ना, सुन के और टेंशन बढ़ जाता है. टेंशन हो रहा है तो हमें बात करनी चाहिए, ठीक है, क्या बेसिक कारण है, कितना पढ़ लिए हो, और जितना पढ़ लिए उसके आगे और कितना जा सकते हो. बहुत से बहुत ये चीजें होंगी ना, यहाँ तुम्हारे स्टम्बलिंग ब्लॉक्स हैं, इनको वर्कआउट कर लो, टेंशन थोड़े कम हो जाएंगे. नॉर्मल है टेंशन होना, इट्स वेरी नॉर्मल, बट हमें उसको नॉर्मली लेने आना चाहिए, ये समझा रहा हूं. नहीं तो हमारी पॉलिसीज इसीलिए खराब होती हैं. हमारी पॉलिसीज बनती हैं विद ऑल आइडियाज दैट दे विल सक्सीड एंड नो आइडिया दैट व्हाट इज माय प्लान बी इफ इट डजंट सक्सीड. Bullet train will be completed by 2022 and there will be a bullet train running between Mumbai and Ahmedabad by 2022. Now this is 2023, bullet train is not running, so what is plan B? So Tejas was not plan B for bullet train. Tejas and all just keep coming because that will happen with industrial development. And imagine if Tejas doesn't pick up the volume that you expected to pick. And what will be plan B then? 30 years down the line, if people start doing traveling via 3D imaging and virtual imaging, then what is that plan to utilize your railway network? The plans have to be made today to achieve what you would like to achieve 20 years later, or 10 years later, or 15 years later. Plans don't, and I'm saying only plans, and I'm government plans. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि 6th स्टैंडर्ड से यूपीएससी की कोचिंग कर लेनी चाहिए, बट कुछ प्लान्स हैं जो लॉन्ग टर्म में ही अचीव होंगे. तो उन प्लान्स के लिए लॉन्ग टर्म प्लानिंग करनी ही पड़ेगी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, हाउ डू आई डेवलप इनफ पार्टिसिपेशन फॉर वुमेन इन पंचायती राज वेयर दे आर वोकल एंड एफिशिएंट. Like it's been around 20 years that women have got reserved seats in Panchayati Raj. What should be the next talk we should begin? How do the women plan to contribute? What is it that they will bring to the table? And women leaders have to talk about it. That if we come to power, we will bring this to the table. Look, we have tried implementing this in the panchayats, and this much we have succeeded. So if you give me 33% reservation in parliament, we will bring it to the table, and we will succeed like this. And then you force the men that, okay, they have to listen to you now, because you are bringing an agenda. But if you bring no agenda, and say, oh, I need 33% reservation, because I am 50% of the population. That's an agenda-less declaration. It doesn't help. The men will also do the lip service. Yes, we are also in favor. Women should get the reservation in parliament. But when it comes to actually acting on that, they won't. And even if they will act on that, they will make sure it's their wife or daughter or somebody else who gets elected. So women got to bring an agenda first, that I am capable to be this. My point is that यही thought process होना चाहिए. सोचने का तरीका सिखा रहा हूँ. अगर कोई आपसे पूछे, should there be 33% reservation for women in parliament or not? Of course, but the women should be first made, along with that, not first maybe sounds like a sequence, but along with that, make women capable to decide that they are beyond their physical beauty at times. And believe you me on that. Sometimes the women don't realize that they are beyond their physical beauty. Men don't understand it, I fully understand that. But women don't understand it. No, because men are not women. That is, it's as simple as that. So men won't understand what lies within. Men will understand what lies within men. It will be very difficult for men to understand what lies within a woman. But women got to understand. That's education, is what I'm trying to tell you. 73rd, 74th Amendment की जब बात हुई थी, and when we talked about reservation, that is what has to be on the agenda. Again, I repeat. So women got to bring it on the agenda. That okay, what is it that we will bring as development model, and hence there should be a seat reserved for women or places reserved for women, and prove it through the panchayat system where they get an opportunity. Now, of course, it's not as simplistic as I told you. I mean, being a woman is a very complex thing in Indian society or even global society at the moment. But my point is that even if empowered women don't bring it on the agenda, because even empowered women don't do that. That is my limited point. मैंने क्यों बोला physical beauty? 15 साल 16 साल की उम्र तक 18 साल भी मुझे समझ में आता है. अगर तुम बोलो ना, वो मुझे देख रहे थे, उन्होंने मुझे देखा, मेरे समझ में आता है. 25 साल में और कुछ को तो मैं देखता हूं 45 साल में. I mean, grow up. Life is beyond that. Who saw me, who didn't see me. Let nobody see me. What's the problem in that? I'm working on my path. Again, I repeat, what's my agenda in life? I am focused on that. After that, anybody can feel anything. That should not be on my background of the mind. Men also suffer from this at times, but thankfully there are lesser men suffering from it. You know, men have other issues. Men have issues like, oh, they want to be friends with me because I'm an achiever. So that becomes a problem that men think. So we have those issues. But you know why I brought this man-woman thing here? Because when you talk about gender disparity, unless you don't understand where are the genders coming from and what is the background of their mental system, how do you bring equity among the gender? You're talking about bringing equity between two such people whom you don't understand. How do you bring equity there? You got to sit down and understand. That's emotional intelligence. Sometimes when you come to me and you want to talk to me, by me I don't mean me, I mean it can be you, somebody comes to you, talks to you. Try understanding where they are coming from. You know, that is the important aspect. मैं आपको एक सिंपल एग्जांपल देता हूं और ये इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, हमेशा दिमाग में रखोगे. फिर अगले 3 साल में एक क्वेश्चन तो आएगा यहां से जरूर आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस से कनेक्ट करके. तभी मैं घुमा फिराकर तुम्हें इसके बारे में कुछ बात बताता रहता हूं. सपोज आई एम अ वेरी गुड टीचर. अजम्पशन ले लेते हैं, इकोनॉमिक्स में तो हम लेते ही हैं, तो एक अजम्पशन ले लेते हैं. सपोज आई एम अ वेरी गुड टीचर, very knowledgeable, and now I have a classroom and 5 people in that classroom attend my class and feel, wow, what a person, what a teacher, what thoughts. Let's interact a little more with sir. But how do we interact with sir? Because right now we don't even know sir well. So how do we make sure we meet sir? So now what they do is they write an answer, one of them, and says, okay, this can be a method to meet sir. That I have written an answer and I can go to sir and tell sir, look sir, I have written this. Would you have a look? Now that answer can be a pathetic answer. It's possible because it is attempted by a student in the first, second, third, fourth class, like the class of the tenure, and there can be say 500 classes in the system or 200 classes in the system. What will an emotionally intelligent teacher do? They would go through the answer. They would know these are the errors. They will be pliantly telling the student about the error. Okay, you could have improved here and you could have improved here. But overall, for a first answer, looks good. Encourages the student to write more. Keeps the good relation between teacher and student alive. Encourages the student to learn more. And keeps good vibes going with no problems in the classroom. Normally, what I see our teachers behaving is exactly opposite to this. Too early to write, what have you written, my God, full of mistakes, I don't even feel like correcting it. इसमें correction करूंगा तो red हो जाएगा ये तो पूरा. ये तुम क्या लिख कर आए हो, पहले 20 दिन सीख के आओ. ये तो politely बोलने की बात कर रहा हूं. कभी कभी तो सीधा वो रॉकेट बनकर आपकी तरफ वापस आएगा. What are you showing this? Have I asked you to write an answer? All this provided they are available. Sometimes they are not even available. That's high IQ but low EQ. I don't get my people. That is the whole point. Now, this person cannot do much in the 4th industrial revolution world. This person will be very intelligent. And what does our education system do? Trains us to be this. Trains us to be loners. First आना होता है ना भाई, तो टीम वर्क कैसे करेंगे? मुझे फर्स्ट आना है. दोस्तों का ग्रुप है हमारा, 10 दोस्त हम हो सकते हैं. बट इंटरनली सब चाहते हैं, और कंस्ट्रक्टिवली, ये नहीं कि डिस्ट्रक्टिवली, कोई किसी का बुरा नहीं चाह रहा, लेकिन इंटरनली सब चाह रहे हैं फर्स्ट तो मैं ही आऊं. दैट्स स्टिल लो ईक्यू. और क्लेम कर रहे हैं वैसे, यार मैं तो तुझे इतना प्यार करता हूं, तेरे जैसा दोस्त तो कोई है ही नहीं मेरा, फर्स्ट उसको आ जाने दो. फर्क क्या पड़ता है? थोड़ा थोड़ा पड़ता है. तो ये समझा रहा हूं आपको. हाँ, अगर 2 नहीं पढ़ने वाले मित्र हैं तो अलग बात है. फिर तो कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं, फिर तो मामला सेटल्ड है कि फर्स्ट कौन आएगा. बट ये आपको इसलिए समझा रहा हूं कि आप देखना, जो हमारे बहुत अच्छे दोस्त होते हैं, हम उन्हें छोड़ते थोड़े ही उन्हें कि वो पढ़े ना. College days, I had two very good friends. We would be after each other's life if one was seen not studying. That is the whole thing. Sometimes we still share with each other how much did you work today and how much did you work today, and that's constructive competition. कभी कभी लगता है अच्छा इसने 16 आज कर दिए, कल मैं करता हूँ. ये कंस्ट्रक्टिव क्रिटिसिज्म है या कंस्ट्रक्टिव कंपटीशन है, आज भी है. तो अपने अपने काम कर रहे हैं हम तीनों लोग. तो ये बात बताता हूं, इसलिए आपसे कह रहा हूं, ये इमोशनल कोशेंट अगर हम नहीं बढ़ाएंगे तो डेवलपमेंट नहीं होगी. अब इसका टूरिज्म से क्या लेना देना है? अगर ये इमोशनल कोशेंट हमने बढ़ाया तो हमारे टूरिस्ट इनपुट्स अपने आप ज्यादा होने लगते हैं. आप देखेंगे जो हॉस्पिटैलिटी सेक्टर में है, समझिएगा मेरी ये बात अच्छे से, जो होटल्स में काम करते हैं, जो ऑर्डर्स लेते हैं, उनका पेशेंस लेवल डिफरेंट होता है ना. क्यों? बचपन से, जन्म लेते ही उनको ट्रेन किया गया इस चीज में. व्हाट आई वाज ट्राइंग टू टीच यू वाज EQ is something which is not something which is non-cognitive. You can train people into a high EQ. The way they train in hotels, the way they train in call centers. Why are you disturbing me? What rubbish? Thank you for your time, sir. When can I call you back? It's not that they are feelingless and they don't feel angry. They do, but they know how to control that anchor. That's emotionally intelligent. I need to do that. Imagine if our bureaucracy becomes that. Then they will understand how it goes when you live without water for 4 days. It's called a very simple thing: empathy, compassion. That's emotional intelligence. Emotionally intelligent people have that. You know, they have empathy. They can understand where the other side is coming from. मैं शायद एक बुरा स्टूडेंट नहीं था, लेकिन मेरे बच्चों में कुछ स्टूडेंट बिलो एवरेज हो सकते हैं. उनसे बात करने का तरीका, उनको अपलिफ्ट करने का तरीका मुझे लाना ही पड़ेगा अपने अंदर अगर मुझे एक ठीक टीचर बनना है. तो ये मेरे जॉब की रिक्वायरमेंट है. दैट्स द इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस आई विल नीड. आई कांट बी डिसमिसिव. अरे तुम्हें ये कैसे नहीं आता? नहीं आता तभी तुमसे पूछ रहे, नहीं तो नहीं पूछ रहे होते. दैट इज माई पॉइंट, दैट यू नो, सो प्लीज कीप इट इन माइंड ऑन टूरिज्म, connected to emotional intelligence, connected to gender equity. Why are some humans, especially in your generation, some in my generation also, they are happy people? Because they are emotionally intelligent. That is the key factor, and that helps them in grow better on the ladder. Always keep these things. Read a little more on emotional intelligence. I will also share with you, but I am expecting that there has to be a short note, if not now, in next 2-3 years, somewhere in your GS paper or optional paper, connecting in efficiency to EQ. It will definitely be connected there. All right, always keep that in mind. Okay, मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि आपके साथ एक 150 वर्ड शेयर भी कर लूं इसके ऊपर, बट आप भी अपने एंड पर रीड जरूर करते रहेंगे, बट आई विल ट्राई शेयरिंग विथ यू. Okay, so I'm answering the question how tourism is labor intensive. Now tourism is labor intensive because you start it off with traveling, which is labor intensive. You know, you will have porters and you will have drivers and you will have people who would be helpers to the drivers, and that will give indirect employment to automobile and other the traveling booking sector. Then it goes into hospitality, hotels, cooks, again porters in the hotel, people who fix things like plumbers and artisans within the hotel. Then it goes to tourist guides. Then it goes to, these are semi-skilled people. Then it goes to more skilled people like financial tour operators, exchange rate managers, bank officials. Along with that, it can move to the hotel management group, the airline management group, or the roadways management group, and so on. Then it goes to event management people who will manage event for you as tourists, and you go different places. So that is why it starts from the bottom, goes to the top, indulging a lot of people, and directly, and then it has the multiplier effect. You see that? So all that is the impact of tourism. All right. Then you write next thing. You write, you wrote 5 points? 6. You write 7th point. Developing better training for Indian workers comma in fields of accounting, law, management, etc. To assure that expertise in these services can be exported to other countries. Then you write one more point. There is a question I see online which says that why should we make industrial textiles? Man-made textile is labor intensive, so we should improve man-made textile. Just a clarification, man-made textile doesn't mean textile made by men. Man-made textile is textile which is not naturally converted. It's not a cotton textile thing. It's textile like rayon, fiber, polyester. That is man-made textile. Even that is made by machine. An industrial textile is also made by machine, and they are industrial textiles which are using flexible fibers. They are using threadbares. All right. So there are different types. I didn't want to go into the technical details of it, so I didn't say that. But again, I repeat, man-made textile मतलब जो natural textile ना हो. Natural textile होते हैं जैसे silk worm आपको निकाल के दे देते हैं silk, या cotton ball से cotton निकल के आ गया thread. वो होते हैं natural textile. मैन मेड होता है जो इंसान ने बनाया, फाइबर बनाया, रेयन बनाया, पॉलिएस्टर बनाया, तो ये मैन मेड है. एंड इंडस्ट्रियल टेक्सटाइल इज जो इसके एक स्टेप ऊपर है, जो कि पॉलिथिलीन को यूज करते हैं, फ्लेक्सिलीन को यूज करते हैं, द डिफरेंट थिंग्स दैट दे वर्क ऑन. ऑलराइट, ओके, सो दीज आर द स्टेप्स दैट वन वुड टॉक. वन मोर यू राइट, promoting even assembling of high value products in India, promoting even assembling of high value products in India, high value products in India, to assure that there is gradual presence of India in global value chain. All right, now these are the points you can present. You can present more, but these are the major points you can present with respect to how export can be promoted. I repeat again what I told you yesterday. If we don't come up with a new foreign trade policy, then this should be the question from your mains point of view. If we come up with a new foreign trade policy, then I will teach you that how in that foreign trade policy we have taken some of these steps that I am mentioning. Also, once you have understood structural reforms and once you have understood these steps, now you are in a better position to analyze budget or survey as to whether those steps have been mentioned, whether those steps have been taken. You understand that? ये तुम्हारी analysis सीखना है तुम्हें, जो मैं कोशिश करता रहा हूँ in all these months. That understand what has to be done and check whether it is being done or not. All right, in the government policy making. All right. Okay, like when you look at things being said today, when you know your history better as to what happened 10 years back, 15 years back, 20 years back, 30 years back, we'll be able to understand whether what's happening today has a conjunct to it or it is happening in isolation. All right, understand it like that, that whether it is happening in isolation, has a conjunct to it, what exactly is the case. So that is how you should just plan your thought process. Okay, now that is on export and industries that I had to teach you. I again repeat, I have told you this earlier also. संदीप वो अपलोड आज हो जाएगा ना crony capitalism वाला. I've given you a write-up on crony capitalism. You just read through that. You will be able to get easily. I have been talking a lot on crony capitalism in the class. So when you will see, read that, you will see Lokesh sir has just organized his thoughts and given it to us. I've given you what is crony capitalism, reasons for crony capitalism, the impact of crony capitalism, and remedy of crony capitalism. So it's a complete set which will give you all the possible questions that they can ask you. All right. So that I have given you already. You will get it uploaded today. There will be another set of notes which will be uploaded. I will be discussing this topic with you in the question answer discussion. That set of notes is on food processing industry in India. Some part I will discuss with you in the class where I will feel you need some explanation. And apart from food processing industry in India, those notes also have black economy development in India. All right. So there are notes on, again, I'll tell you, like say black economy. So what is black economy? Steps taken to curb black economy. What further needs to be done? Why black economy developed in India? All right. Again, so we will try keeping it academic. My suggestion to you also is keep it academic. All right. Always go for what is black economy, reasons for black economy development, the steps taken by the government, challenges that the black economy creates, and what further can be done to control black economy. UPSC will ask you things in this manner. So always try predicting, okay, this is what they will ask me and this is what I can write. And when I give you black economy, it doesn't mean you can't use other places. You can also say that one of the reasons for black economy development, which is say tax that we don't pay, is a lot about the hysteresis effect of taxes not being paid since 1970s with overbearing tax rates. So that kind of connection you should learn. Okay, connect what you have read other places with what you read now, and you will be able to formalize better answer. On India before 1947, I've given you good enough notes, and I'll give you some topics also that you should focus upon. I will be covering those topics up with the tests, for example, commercialization of agriculture, or people taking only Indian economic services don't have to bother. Indian economic services doesn't ask you India before 47 as much. But people taking optional will be doing it in more detail. So it'll ask you things like commercialization of agriculture, role of railways in development of India before 47, money supply or monetary system in India before 1947. All right. On all these, I've given, say, topics like cotton and jute textile industry before 1947, and land methods, like, permanent settlement and zamindari system and temporary settlement, mehalwari, rayatwari, before 1947. And then it is about deindustrialization of India, and then drain of wealth. These are 6-7 topics around which your India before 47 keeps rotating. All right, they don't take you beyond that. ये 6-7 broad topics हैं. I've given you some detailed notes. I've deliberately given you notes on not only railways, but also on roadways and on other infrastructure development, that in case sometimes by accident there is a question on roadway development in India, you should know how to go about it, write about it. All right. My suggestion is right now, you can leave it alone. From India before 47, there will be one question in the compulsory part in paper 2, and there will be one full question in section A of the main part. So that means that effectively around 60 marks of question they ask you from India before 47. Sometimes it can be 70, but out of that 70, 150 is a choice. एक 50 नंबर चॉइस है, 20 नंबर ऐसा हो सकता है, या 10 नंबर, 20 नंबर भी कभी कभी जो कंपलसरी होगा. तो इसीलिए मैं आपके वो फैसेट्स रेडी कर रहा हूं. आप जैसे खत्म करेंगे एग्जाम, उसको रीड करने लगो. फिर जब मैं टेस्ट लूंगा तुम्हारे और जो प्रैक्टिस टेस्ट दूंगा उसके साथ, through that I will be giving you, because there is one full test on India before 47 and India after 91. In that case, section A is India before 47. So in that case, we will have the opportunity to give you around 14 questions in the practice paper and 14 questions in the actual paper from India before 47 itself. Through those 28 questions, I can assure you I can cover more than what the test will ask you. Alright? But that will be covered when you have read the notes that I have given you. Alright? So have time to read them. That आप अभी नहीं पढ़ो, प्रीलिम्स खत्म करो, 2-3 दिन का ब्रेक लो, मालदीव से घूम के आ जाओ. मजाक कर रहा हूँ. कहाँ जाओगे अभी उस सब जगह पे? अभी अभी यहीं रह जाओ, बहुत है. तो आप थोड़ा सा रिलैक्स कर लो और वापस अपने टेबल पे आ जाओ और यही चीजें पढ़ना, यही चीजों से शुरू करना चाहिए. Alright, that is how you should begin. That begin with Indian economy. It sets the momentum. माइक्रो उठाओगे, दूसरे दिन डराएगा, तीसरे दिन टेबल से उठ जाओगे. डराएगा इसलिए नहीं क्योंकि तुम काबिल नहीं हो, डराएगा इसलिए क्योंकि तुम पूरे प्रीलिम्स को पढ़कर ऑलरेडी थके रहोगे मेंटली. So what you should do is you should pick up micro after 3-4 days, and when you are, or 5 days, and pick, or even if you pick up micro, you say no sir, I'm hell bent, I'll begin with micro. Then begin with smaller things like Marshallian, cardinal utility, ordinal utility, smaller things like say elasticity results, price consumption curve. Don't straight away jump into complex stocks. They create trouble. Keep the complex stocks and do them in the second half of your micro. Like if first 5 days you have generated the momentum for micro, next 5 days you should go ahead and do things. So do it like that, and that way you should prepare yourself. Okay, now you give a heading, you write agriculture. Yes, yes. No. Metals and minerals is around 200 billion already, because minerals में petroleum oil lubricants ही जो हैं वही 50 billion हो जाते हैं. Then we have steel exports and we have aluminium exports, but actually the major dominance is of engineering goods, electronic goods, electrical appliances, big industrial materials, alright, rollers as we call them, and so on. Automobile is another big component. Alright, nuts and bolts are another big component. Gold is a big component. Pharmaceutical is a big component. They are there. I am deliberately not taking you into those details. Maybe what can be in your mind, I'm guessing, you can tell me, is that how about top 3 exports of India or top 3 imports? I will be telling you this in the economic survey lecture already. So that's why I'm refraining from using it in the class. Alright, but I will be telling you the top 3 export destinations, import destinations, exported products, imported products, when I'm teaching you economic survey. So that is why I'm not speaking about it in the classroom right now. Alright, you take this up then. In agriculture, please connect again. When I discussed with you India before 91, there were few things from India after 91 I had covered with you. I'm just reminding you. And you tell me if by chance you believe that my imploration is not correct. Investment in agriculture is one thing that I covered with you entirely. Crop diversification, few things I'll cover now, but few things if you recall, cropping pattern in India. Alright, like how we become a rice wheat economy. Alright, that was cropping pattern in India. So these were few small things we were discussing. Land reforms, of course, is what we went into. Also what we discussed was a talk on development of agricultural cropping pattern, green revolution and yellow revolution. Alright. Now blue revolution I didn't discuss with you. I'm asking. I think I did not. Yes. Yellow also I did not. Okay. So what we will do is we will discuss all the revolutions, yellow, blue, white, all together, but that can come a little later. What I want to discuss with you right now is major part from where they ask you a lot of questions, which is agricultural subsidies and how agricultural subsidies will be implemented. On yellow, blue, white revolution, I will not be giving you the factuals. It's already in your notes. I'll speak about those factuals, but I won't make you write them. I will make you write the analysis of these revolution. Alright, मैं इन revolutions के analysis आपको लिखवा दूंगा कि इनके benefits क्या रहे, challenges क्या रहे, Indian economy को impetus कैसे दिया इन्होंने, and so on, with an optional in the mind. Like in GS also, some of you have discussed it with me already, but in GS I am in a GS mold. I teach you as much as what a GS paper 3 will need. In optional, of course, we will go into more details than GS, so obviously you can replicate that. Okay, So to begin with, we will first talk about, you give a heading within this, you write agricultural subsidies in India. Okay, so I have a question, is Make in India contributing to exports? Well, manufacturing exports have picked up. So in that sense, you can say Make of India is, uh, you know, is contributing. Okay, then when we talk about things, somebody online is asking that in between sometimes you go away from the camera, so where do you go? Just, bottle of rum nearby. Okay, can't teach without gulping it down. Alright, just joking. My laptop is to the left, so don't miss me for a couple of minutes. So you would often not see me when I'm looking into the laptop, into your chat questions. Alright, these guys push me that side. Okay, let's see this then. But मैं ये सोचता हूँ आपके मन में क्या क्या आता रहता है जब आप कंप्यूटर के साथ बैठे रहते हो. Now, when we talk about the first thing up, agricultural subsidies in India, and I am not at the moment teaching you the public distribution system, that I will teach you with poverty, because that's one of the remedy to poverty. What I'm doing right now is teaching you food subsidy, how it is given, and then what are the benefits, challenges of it, what is APMC market, all those stories we are trying to understand. So understand it first like this, that when we talk about agricultural subsidies in India, first one that we can begin with is price subsidies. Now when it comes to this price subsidy, A is minimum support price. This minimum support price, MSP we will keep calling it. This minimum support price, the objective is to save the farmer from distress sale. Objective is to save the farmer from distress sale. It should not happen that the farmer doesn't even recover cost of production. The idea is that MSP will be declared then. Therefore, it is declared if market price falls drastically, and farmer will be unable to get even cost of production. If market price falls drastically and farmer will be unable to get even cost of production. All right. Then, so remember, first things first, MSP was not meant originally, it was not meant to be declared every year. All right, it was meant to be declared in distress years. That if you have a distress year, then the government will buy at MSP from the farmer. Again, I repeat, the objective is to protect the farmer. That we will buy from the farmer, and the objective is to protect the farmer in a distress year. Now we have lost track of that, that's a separate story. And the idea was that this MSP will be declared on a cost plus basis. Now what is that cost plus basis? So the cost plus basis is A2. These are different ways in which cost is estimated for farmers in India. Alright, ये अलग अलग तरीके हैं जिससे भारत में किसानों को जो कॉस्ट लगता है, जो लागत लगती है, वो एस्टिमेट किया जाता है. Alright. So when you look at A2, it consists of all explicit cost borne by farmers, that is cost of paying rent, wage, interest, cost of fertilizer, seeds, and other equipments and raw material. The key word is explicit. Alright, it is about all explicit cost. I hope you recall explicit and implicit. Explicit is when you pay to the outsiders. Implicit is when you supply your own factors and take an opportunity cost of that. That is explicit and implicit. So all explicit cost that the farmer pays, that comes under A2. Then comes A2 plus FL. This is nothing but A2 plus family labor implicit wage. Alright, A2 plus FL. So it consists of A2 plus family labor implicit wage. Alright, so the implicit wage of family labor is A2 plus FL. Alright, implicit wage of family labor is A2 plus FL. Now what is meant by implicit wage of family labor? Suppose I have my people of my family helping me on the land, and suppose they are 4 such people helping me on the land. Now suppose I am giving 300 rupees per worker on my land. It will mean 1200 rupees should be further added apart from whatever total expenditure I do on a per day basis on my land. Do I believe I reach you on this? Yes, I can. I'm saying that if you have a family labor, that is people from your family working on the ground or on the land, suppose there are 4. वही मुझे लगा आते ही आए अब खत्म करो टन. All right. So A2 plus FL is A2 plus family labor. So suppose there are 4 people working and there is 300 rupees per worker that I am paying already. Then these 4 people's wage will be implicitly taken as something like a 1200 rupees per day that these workers should also be paid. So that will be like an implicit cost. Obviously I will not pay to my family labor, but then it's the opportunity cost that this family labor has on land. Alright, whenever I use the word implicit cost, I'm sure you acknowledge that's the opportunity cost idea. Alright, and then comes C2, which is A2 plus FL plus estimated rent of owners supplied land plus estimated interest on owners supplied capital. That is C2. So remember, C2 is A2 plus FL plus estimated rent of owners occupied land plus estimated interest on owners supplied capital. Alright? Yes, yes. नहीं नहीं, disguised unemployment होता है जब जरूरत से ज्यादा लोग हैं. All right. That is when your MPL is 0. You are on the land but contributing nothing. What all will be? Implicit wage is the opportunity cost of the wage that your family members should have got. Yes, but will they be paid any wage by the family? You see that? So since they will not be explicitly paid any wage by the family, implicitly you have to estimate how much wage they would have received if they had worked elsewhere, or how much wage you would pay if you had hired somebody else. Opportunity cost of agricultural labor, ऐसे सोचो, ठीक है? That is the only way to think. All right. Okay. This is explicit. When you hired somebody's land, or when you hired somebody's money, or borrowed somebody's money, that is what you have included here. And this is when you have supplied your own. Alright, इसलिए यहाँ estimated लिखा है और यहाँ explicit cost borne by farmers, that is cost of paying. तो payment हम किसी को अलग से ही करेंगे, ठीक है? जब मैंने किसी का लैंड लिया, उस पर खेती कर रहा हूं, जो रेंट दिया, किसी से लोन लिया, उनको जो इंटरेस्ट दूंगा, वो एक्सप्लिसिट है, वो यहां आ गया. लेकिन अगर मैं अपने ही लैंड पे खेती कर रहा हूं, अपने ही मनी को यूज कर रहा हूं फॉर कैपिटल, वो इम्प्लिसिट है, वो यहां आ गया. ऑलराइट. Now these three mechanisms were developed. I hope all of us are clear on A2, A2 plus FL, C2. These three mechanisms were developed for pricing in Indian agriculture, and it was decided, yes. No. You will estimate the cost for on a district basis. All right, and then you take an average for that district, declare a value, and so on. That is why it is the state government which implements this rule. All right. Now see, हाँ नहीं निकलता है, वही दिक्कत होती है. अभी मैं आ रहा हूं उन्हीं बातों पे. Now till 2005, there was no rule, no discussion as to how MSP will be declared. In 19, ये सारी चीजें आपके नोट्स में है, मैं बोल रहा हूं, आप सुनते रहना. 1965, government established CACP, and CACP would take a call on fixing this MSP. Initially, MSP was declared only for wheat and rice. Gradually, today, if you ask me, we declare MSP over 22 crops, and then there are 2 crops which take derived MSP. All right. And on sugarcane, we declare fair and remunerative prices. Fair and remunerative prices are legalized. Nobody can buy sugarcane at lesser than FRP, because that is a penal offense. You cannot do that. And who will buy sugarcane? The sugar industry, the mills. And what will they do? They will give the money to the farmers. But why will they give a subsidy? They won't. The government will give the subsidy to them in order to pass it on to the farmers. Do I believe I reach you on this? In case of sugarcane, suppose if the price is 100 rupees per unit, government says purchase it at 120 rupees per unit. Then government will give 20 rupees per unit to the sugar industry, and sugar industry will then give it to the farmers. And a problem that we see in sugar industry in India, is a lot of dues in both 2 major producing states, Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh. Heavy dues in thousands of crores. You know, not dues of 100 crore or 200 crore. Dues ranging up to 7,000 crore, 5,000 crore. That kind of dues remain in these states. So sugarcane becomes a problem part in that sense. But coming back to MSP, again I repeat, 22 crops on which we give MSP in India. Now coming back to my point again, MSP till 2005 had no formula. In 2005, Swaminathan Commission recommended that there should be MSP given, MSP should be given at 1.5 times C2. आपको बाद में मैसेज करने की जरूरत ना पड़े, ये लिख देता हूं मैं, क्योंकि बहुत बार इंटरनेट सर्च पे आपको ये मिलेगा. तो मुझे 3 ऐसे मैसेजेस आ गए हैं, लेकिन वो जीएस ग्रुप से आए, तो उम्मीद है ऑप्शनल में आपको इकोनॉमिक्स बेहतर समझ में आएगी। उन्होंने कहा आपने क्लास में बताया था 1.5 टाइम्स C2, मैंने इंटरनेट सर्च किया, मुझे ये मिला, व्हाट डू आई बिलीव। मैंने एक को मजाक भी किया, मैंने कहा हाउ डू आई बिलीव that you are seriously trying an attempt. But okay, maybe mind can go haywire for many of us many times. I'm sure later on people would have realized what they were up to. But coming to my point, this is 1.5 times C2. That is what MSP should be given, is what was recommendation of Swaminathan Commission, 2005. No action was taken on this till 2017. Finally, in 2017, government said, 2017, so I'm just clarifying myself, this was the recommendation, this was the recommendation of Swaminathan Commission in 2005. It was the recommendation of Swaminathan Commission in 2005. No action was taken till 2017. In 2017, government decided that we will give 1.5 times A2 plus FL. In 2017, government decided that we will give 1.5 times A2 plus FL. And when asked that why can't it be 1.5 times C2, the government said, look, it can't be 1.5 times C2 because it is very difficult in a rural economy to measure estimated rent of owner occupied land and estimated interest of owner given capital, because how do you verify how much has been given? Different land will have different rent in any village. So very difficult to get a uniform rental value. And impossible to verify. I mean, the owner can come and say, look, I spent this much on my land as capital infusion. Now it's his word against yours, that kind of a situation. So government said it's not practical to apply C2. So we are applying 1.5 times A2 plus FL. There has been a research done by Professor Ramesh Chand. He is one of the Economic Advisory Committee of member of our Prime Minister also. He says this is he says, I'm not saying it is necessarily true, but Professor Ramesh Chand has said that this will be approximately 1.2 times C2. All right? This is a research done by Professor Ramesh Chand. All right? So Professor Ramesh Chand has said that this can be 1.2 times C2, and he says that good enough. You are recovering all your cost and then paid 20% above that. So that's not a bad idea for a farmer. But again, remember, Swaminathan Commission's context of saying that was that it should be announced in the years of distress. So it should not be taken for granted that every year there will be an announcement of MSP and it will be 1.5 times A2 plus FL. Unfortunately, we have forgotten that story, and now in India, every year it is MSP which is announced. And to the extent that it was said during the farmers' agitation days that MSP should be made legalized. Okay, let's do that. But if we make MSP legal, we are saying that you cannot buy at less than MSP by any means. Let us say that is the rule. Sounds good, intuitively at least. Oh great, farmer will be able to sell at MSP. But imagine, out of 24 crops on which we give MSP, on 22 crops except wheat and rice, on all other crops, government declares closed procurement. Closed procurement means government will announce a quantity, and that is what people will be allowed to sell. The rest they have to sell in the open market. All right, government announces closed procurement. Closed procurement means that government will announce a quantity, and that is what will be sold in the market, purchased by the government through its Food Corporation of India godowns, and the rest they can sell in the open market, that is to the traders, and government doesn't take the responsibility of buying it. Okay. On wheat and rice, government says there is open procurement. Open procurement means that you can bring to us, and whatever you bring to us in the APMC market, we are committed to buying it. On wheat and rice, there is open procurement, where government says you can bring it to us, and whatever you bring to us in the APMC market, we are committed to buying it. In all other crops except wheat and rice, there is closed procurement. Wheat and rice में open procurement है, बाकी सभी crops में closed procurement है. मैं कुछ समझाना चाह रहा हूं अब इसके बाद आपको, इसीलिए इतना टाइम लगाया ये बात बोलने में. अब अगर हमने कह दिया कि ये लीगल है एमएसपी, लीगली बाइंडिंग, एंड यू कैन नॉट बाय बिलो एमएसपी, ऑल राइट, बट इमेजिन इवन इन व्हीट एंड राइस where there is open procurement, that is government is committed to buying everything that is brought to the government, even there what we see is out of approximately 220 million tons, 230 million tons of wheat and rice that we produce, government never purchases more than 105, 110 million tons. Maximum 120 million tons, 125 million tons is what we have seen them purchasing. That means government's purchase, even in wheat and rice, where they have open procurement, is never more than 60%, 62% of the market. You understand that? Now, where is the rest of the thing sold? In the market. Now imagine, government fixes MSP at 1.5 times A2 plus FL. Suppose the market situation is bad, and people are not, traders are not in a position to pay 1.5 times A2 plus FL. Traders are in a position to pay, say, 1.2 times A2 plus FL. But this is below MSP. But it is recovering farmer's price. But the traders will say, I can't buy it because it's illegal. And now what does the farmer do? Knocks on everybody's house who were saying, make it legal. Please buy it from me now. But you know, in reality, what will happen? Worse than this. In reality, what will happen is that the traders will tell the farmers, look, it's not legal, but you are my old friend, and I don't want to leave you in the lurch. So, see, ideally I would have paid you 1.2 times A2 plus FL, but now I will have to give money to BDO Sahab, CO Sahab, DM Sahab, and so on. Whether these Sahabs take money or not, the point is that, हो सकता है ये जो साहब हैं इनको पता भी नहीं है कि पैसे मेरे नाम पे लिए जा रहे हैं. But the traders can do this. They can always tell them, look, I have to give money to the government. Because it is illegal to do it, I have to give money to people concerned, and therefore, now I will be willing to pay to you something like 0.9 times A2 plus FL. And now the trader will buy it at 0.9 times A2 plus FL, can stock it for a longer period of time, and release it to the market when better price can be fetched. The farmer loses out because the farmer is selling something perishable. And we have said it's illegal to buy it at lesser than MSP. Today the situation is, we have said you can buy at lesser than MSP if the situation so arises. So people are buying at lesser than MSP. It already creates a lot of situation, like these days you must be reading news about tomato, onion prices, which have crashed down big time in India. And no fun in getting myself right, but long back I was having a discussion with you in which I was telling you how tomato, onion prices follow a cycle. And I told you March the price crashes. March, price crashes. It's not a new thing. Every year. I'm not a soothsayer. You know, anybody who has studied Indian economy better would know it in advance. When will the price rise and when will the price fall? हाँ, आप अगर पहले बार पढ़ते हैं इन चीजों को तो लगता है देखो प्राइस गिर गया कितना, कितने दुख की बात है. ये दुख की बात हर मार्च में होती है. जैसे होली हर मार्च में आ जाती है, वैसे ये दुख की बात भी हर मार्च में आती है. हर बार ऐसे ही अखबार में आर्टिकल आते हैं, हम अपना छाती वाती पीटते हैं, धोला मेरा छाती मेरा डोला, रुदाली बनते हैं और फिर फार्मर्स को छोड़ देते हैं अगले मार्च में फिर वैसे ही छाती पीटने के लिए. दिस इज द चैलेंज फॉर इंडिया, that if we know that every March the price will crash, by February end the price will crash, especially for onion, tomato kind of products, then what are the steps we are taking for it? 2018 we had announced Operation TOP, tomato, onion, potato. This is 2023. Onion prices are still creating a problem. 2021 the Prime Minister said, TOP is a wonderful vision we have. We will extend it to 22 crops and we will call it Operation Green. Now even that is 2 years old. And that is why I feel sad when the leader of opposition is attacking the country for irrelevant issues in a foreign country. He can very well attack the government on relevant issues within the country, assuming he knows about it. You know, that is what he can come within the country and start attacking the government. That why are the farmers selling at this price? You announced Operation Top and Operation Green. Even Green is now 2 years old. What have you done in these operations? Why isn't the action taken? Or are you only making announcements and not taking any action on the ground? But the government is now in a good mode because he is doing something where government can appeal to the sentiments of the people. Oh look, he's attacking the country abroad. And then all this becomes such a big issue as to what does a person who could not clear Cambridge said at Cambridge. That real issues of the farmers, yeah, he flunked Cambridge after flunking at St. Stephen's. I mean, Rahul Gandhi ji has the same track record that Shah Rukh Khan had in Dilwale Dulhania. You know, बिल्कुल सिमिलर ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है बड़े बड़े जगहों पे जाके फेल होने का. मतलब ये भी शो करता है कुछ कैलिबर कि मैं कैसे नेपोटिज्म से सही जगह पे पहुंच तो जाऊंगा और वहां पास नहीं कर पाऊंगा. हर आदमी तेजस्वी यादव की तरह थोड़ी लकी होता है. मैं 9th भी पास नहीं करूंगा लेकिन चीफ मिनिस्टर तो बन सकता हूँ. वो एक अलग बात है. लालू जी हमेशा बोलते थे मैं सामंतवाद के खिलाफ हूँ, मैं फ्यूडलिस्टिक फोर्सेस को खत्म करना चाहता हूँ, मैं समाजवाद लाना चाहता हूँ. तो मुझे लगा था लालू जी सीरियसली मीन करते हैं इन बातों को. ठीक है, ऑल ऑफ अस लर्न, यू नो. बट एनीवेज, कमिंग बैक टू माय पॉइंट, if you understand my satires, I am happy. You know, but if you come back to my point, this is the point where farmers will become better off if we work it out. You know, farmers better off tab honge if we give them good marketing facility, because India is no more a country of shortage. When we were a country of shortage, we needed Essential Commodities Act. When we were a country of shortage, we needed MSP to be declared frequently and more so. We are a country of surplus today. So the planning has to be how to make do for surplus. How to make sure that surplus can be accommodated. I hope you get the point till here. Okay, MSP legalization, the issue you understand. The issue is a lot of crop will remain unsold and can possibly lead to black marketing or a grey market development for crops, hurting the farmers. That is the issue. That is why legalizing MSP may not be that great. Yes, yes. So that is the key, that everybody doesn't have to buy at MSP. People can buy at whatever price the farmers are selling them at. If the farmer sells it to a licensed trader at APMC market, then they will get MSP, and the trader will get MSP plus commission. But the trader will have to show the receipt from the farmer that I bought this paying MSP to the farmer. Absolutely. So only I'm going to teach you that structure as to how that happens. Yes, yes. Yeah, that also of wheat and rice. For other crops, it's lesser than 40%. No, they don't have enough storage space, they don't have enough budget, and the farmers can't reach these places every time. The farmers sell it to traders who come to their field and buy it from the field. So take for example this. Okay, so I'm answering a question that, okay, so why can't the rest people sell to the government? I'll share with you something from agricultural quinquennial survey. I can get rid of this. You get the idea, A2 plus FL, C2 and all. Okay. I would share with you this data that you must know. We do quinquennial census in agriculture. Quinquennial is every 5 years. The next one is due this year, but it won't happen. क्योंकि हमने decadal census नहीं किया, quinquennial क्या करेंगे? तो हमारे सरकार को भी थोड़ा डेटा से डर है. अगर डेटा निकल के आएगा तो इंट्यूशन खराब हो जाएगा. अभी इंट्यूटिवली हम बोल देते हैं ना, अरे देश का विश्व का 5वां सबसे बड़ा देश है, 3रा बड़ा देश है पीपीपी में. सुनने वाले भी खुश हो गए. डिटेल डेटा जब सेंसस का आएगा तो पता चलेगा विश्व जो 5वां सबसे बड़ा राष्ट्र है उसकी इंटरनली हालत किस तरह पे है. यू नो, बट एनीवेज वो एक अलग डिस्कशन है, करूंगा अभी पॉवर्टी के साथ आपके साथ. बट इफ आई टेक एग्रीकल्चरल quinquennial census, then this is 2019-20. 22 crore households are in agriculture according to this census. That's close to 90 crore population of India. All right, 22 crore households are employed in agriculture. So that is around 45%. You आप newspaper में पढ़ते होंगे 45% of workforce is in agriculture. You see that 50 crore is the workforce of India. Around 22.5 crore people are in agriculture. Now, out of this, 33% are landless labor. 35% are marginal farmers. These are farmers with land holding less than 2 hectares. You know, marginal farmers, farmers with land holding less than 2 hectares. Then 18% are small farmers with land holding less than 5 hectares. I'm sure you understand that those who are above 2 hectares but less than 5 hectares. Like when I say less than 5 hectares, it automatically means greater than 2 hectares because they are not marginal, they are small. All right. So marginal farmers are those which have land holding 0 to 2 and small are those which have land holding 2 to 5. And then there are 10% people who are medium farmers with land holding less than 10 hectares. And 4% people are large farmers with land holding greater than 10 hectares. All right? That is what the quinquennial census suggested. It also suggested that the average land holding in India is now 1.05 hectare. All right, that is the average land holding in India. 1.05 hectare is the average land holding size in India. But I am trying to highlight something to you. Imagine these people are already ruled out because they are not having any land. They might, as maximum, they can work on somebody's land as a tenant farmer. You know, जिनको बहुत जगह पे बटेदार, बरगरदार ऐसे बोला जाता है. All right, the sharecroppers. I will cultivate your land. I will keep some amount. You keep some amount. All right. Now they are the dominant ones in India. Many of them. Then many of these people, marginal farmers, are also tenant farmers because their land is so small that it is not good enough to help them. You understand that? But think, let's try understanding this. These people, forget landless labor, these people, almost 53% of total land holdings, will be in no position to produce enough surplus which they can take to Food Corporation of India APMC markets, you know, pay the transportation cost, pay the labor cost of offloading and uploading, pay for measurement and cost, pay for packaging. They are in no position to do that. So what do? They sell it to the trader who comes to the farm gate and purchases from them directly. Why? Because I need you to understand one more thing here. Rather two more things since I am picking it up here. So I'll quickly tell you that. इस बात पे एक सेमिनार में एक दिन प्रोफेसर पिकेटी बहुत नाराज हो गए थे. वो कोविड पैंडेमिक का टाइम था. वो बोल रहे थे इंडिया में इनइक्वालिटी ऐसा है वैसा है. आई वाज फ्रॉम MIT साइड रिप्रेजेंटिंग. आई जस्ट गेव हिम दिस फिल ऑफ द ब्लैंक्स. I just removed this or this or this. ये सब बस मैंने गायब कर दिया कुछ चीजें. मैंने कहा you fill up these blanks and then I am willing to accept that you have actually done a thorough research on India. Because if you don't know what do 70% people living in India do, and you are willing to comment on inequality in India, then that's preposterous. You know, it's like I am willing to comment on inequality in Swahili or KwaZulu Natal. You know, because then I don't know the place and I'm commenting on inequality because I'll tell you because he didn't have any idea of India's rural system. And I'll tell you why I say because even though I have huge respect for him as an academician, he's a wonderful academician, no doubt, but sometimes even the good among us fall prey to hubris. But anyways, so now when you talk of this, so 4%, these people, these guys control 48% of total land holding in India. You can imagine their wealth and you can imagine their control on the rural system. 4% लोग हैं, almost आधी जमीन इनके हाथ में. तो ये हमारे रूरल सिस्टम का एक नजारा है जो हमें पता होना चाहिए, और ये हमारा सेंसस बोल रहा है. ऐसा भी नहीं है दैट इट इज कमिंग फ्रॉम सम फॉरेन एजेंसी और कमिंग फ्रॉम अ प्राइवेट सिस्टम. इट्स आवर एग्रीकल्चरल सेंसस which is showing these numbers to us. I'll tell you this one more thing you should understand. There are 7,000 APMC markets in India. Actually, I'll tell you where the 7,000 come from. There are 2,346 direct purchase markets and around 4,600, a little more than that, सब्सिडियरी टू देम. अगर तुम गूगल सर्च करोगे तो तुम्हें ये नंबर नजर आएगा ऑफ गवर्नमेंट कंट्रोल्ड एपीएमसी मार्केट. उसके साथ ये भी लिखा मिलेगा, पर चूंकि यहां गवर्नमेंट कंट्रोल्ड एपीएमसी मार्केट लिखा रहता है तो हमें लगता है अरे द ओल्ड मैन वाज सेइंग 7,000, हाउ कम दिस इज 2,300. ऑलराइट, बट दैट्स बिकॉज आई ऐड दीज टू नंबर्स एंड मेक इट अप्रोक्सीमेटली 7,000. थोड़ा छोटा लिखूं और अच्छा बड़ा लिखूं, मुझे लगा इससे छोटा लिखना. ऑलराइट, आप तुम देखना कहीं हम टूरिस्ट स्पॉट पे जाते हैं ना, चावल के दाने पे आपका नाम लिख के दूंगा. मुझे लगता है पिछले जन्म में मैं कुछ ऐसा ही था. इस जन्म तक आदत गई नहीं मेरी. I'll try making it bigger. Okay, let's see this. So 2,346 direct purchase market and 4,600 subsidiary to them. So we have around 7,000 APMC markets in India. Then there are 22,000 Grameen rural agricultural market. इनको ग्राम का नाम दिया जाता है. Alright, Grameen rural agricultural market, 22,000. So now you have 29. I'll tell you what happens. There are 7 lakh villages in India, a little less than that, 6,80,000. Imagine, in 6,80,000 villages, we have 7,000 APMC markets. That effectively means one market for 100 village. Average, of course, in bigger areas there are more, lesser area. Punjab, Haryana, there's a lot of APMC market position present. Other places there are less. But imagine it like this. So 7,000 markets over 7 lakh villages. So to make it more easily available to the farmers, people established Grameen Rural Agricultural Market, 22,000. And then to make it a little more accessible, there were 44,000 mandis, agricultural mandis, established all over India. But imagine if I take all of these, still it adds up to 73,000 over close to 7 lakh villages, with all difficulties of road terrain, difficulties of hilly areas, difficulties where, or the idea where the crop can be less, the carriage capacity may not be strong. So what it does is, not many people are able to reach these markets, and therefore not many people get MSP for themselves. Who controls this whole rut? Now understand this. This APMC system was initiated in India from 1965 as government established Food Corporation of India. ये सारी कहानी तुम्हारे नोट्स में है, तुम वहां भी इसको पढ़ सकते हो, जो एग्रीकल्चर का सेक्शन है. गवर्नमेंट एस्टैब्लिश्ड, ये कहानी नहीं है बस, ये मैं तुम्हें आज सुना रहा हूं. ऑलराइट, बट ये स्टोरीज हैं. Establishment of APMC, Food Corporation of India, and so on. So APMC market was established in 1965. This whole system began then. Government established CACP. And what did the government say? Government said, we will appoint traders whom we will give license. So there will be government licensed traders who will operate via APMC market, and farmers will have to sell it to these traders, get MSP, and traders will get MSP plus commission. So obviously MSP तो उन्होंने farmers को दे दिया, तो commission मिल जाएगा उनको. You with me till this? But obviously we all understand that if there are only 7,000 APMC markets, there will not be so many traders. So what do the traders start doing? Traders start giving their license authority to sub-traders below them. This is legal. It's not that they are doing something illegal. It's legal, it's allowed. सरकार ने बोला अगर आप खुद नहीं जा सकते तो आप अपनी licensing authority किसी को दे सकते हैं. So the trader will set up the whole supply chain. I am the biggest trader. Now you can be a smaller trader. All right. So say I am a big trader, and try understanding this, that I can be a big trader who has an APMC market license, and suppose there are 100 big traders in the APMC market. 100 big traders in the APMC market. These 100 big traders can have, say, 100, 200 each sub-licensees. ऑलराइट, ये जो मान लो एक कोई ट्रेडर हुए, दूसरे ट्रेडर हुए, तीसरे ट्रेडर हुए, इन सब ने अपने अपने साथ 100-200 लोगों को जोड़ लिया कि भाई तुम जाओ, ये ट्रेडर्स हैं कहीं एक मेजर डिस्ट्रिक्ट हेडक्वार्टर में या स्टेट के कैपिटल में, ये कहते हैं भाई तुम जाओ, तुम मेरी जगह खरीद के ले आना. ठीक है, अब इनका काम हो गया खरीद के लाने का. इन लोगों ने क्या किया, अपने 50 लोग लिख लिए, बोले तुम जाओ, तुम हर तहसील से खरीद के लाओ. यू गो टू एवरी तहसील, एवरी थाना, बाय इट. इन लोगों ने क्या किया, अपने अंदर 50 लोग रख लिए, उनको बोला तुम हर गांव चले जाओ. इन लोगों ने क्या किया, हर गांव में अपने 20 लोग रख लिए, तुम मेरी जगह खरीद लो. इसी को कहते हैं द चेन ऑफ मिडलमैन. ऑलराइट, सो व्हेन वी से दैट नाउ दीज पीपल विल बाय फ्रॉम द फार्मर, और मैंने तो ये छोटा चेन रखा है, इस चेन में करीब करीब 15-20 लिंकेजेस हैं. So now one will buy from the farmer, then he will take his commission, give it to the next one will take his commission, give it to the next one, and by the time it reaches this person, the price is already inflated. And now this person will either sell it in the market or give it to the government. It's quite an inflated system by now. So by the time it reaches from the farmer to the consumer, especially if it is not wheat and rice, because for that the government has a procurement system, and government has Food Corporation of India go down, and government will buy it from people directly. But for other crops like fruits, vegetables, pulses, oil seeds, for all these crops, it becomes a problem now because of this whole chain of middlemen. And remember, it's not that all these middlemen are earning crores. The trader who has the major license might be earning crore, but these people may not even be earning in lakhs much. They might be earning 40,000, 50,000 per month, 60,000 per month. They are big people. Don't forget they are earning 60, 70,000 per month in a rural area. So they are not small people. They are working in nice places. They have good houses. They are well-to-do. Now these people might be earning something like 30,000 per month, 25,000 per month. This person might be earning 10,000 per month, and this person might be earning 5,000 per month. You know, that is how the chain can go. But end of the day, the whole chain is established through this mechanism. The government initially let it be because they didn't have a choice. Because APMC itself was the way in which they were trying to control farmers' exploitation. How? You understand the story till here? Government was saying, if it is a crop where you have any trouble, then APMC market. And you understand this chain, right? That means still a farmer will find one government allocated market within 10 villages distance. That's not small in a rural system. अगर 10 गांव के रेडियस में एक मार्केट है, तो छोटे किसान सवाल ही नहीं है जाएंगे बेचने के लिए. You know, the small farmer will never go, leave alone the marginal farmer. They hardly migrate for these purposes. They wait for somebody to come and buy from their land. Now, coming back to my point, what it does then is that government said that in normal years, when farmers are not doing badly, but government has to buy for the purpose of its food security or raw material for public sector enterprises, in a normal year, then they will not declare MSP, then they will declare what is called procurement price. So in a normal year, government will not declare MSP, they will declare what is called a procurement price. What is this procurement price? Simply the price at which government will buy from the market for purpose of food security and industrial raw material for public sector. That is procurement price. We in India have more or less forgotten this. ये हम भूल गए हैं. हमें procurement price नाम की चीज खत्म हो गई. अब सब कुछ MSP है. बातचीत ही MSP पे होती है. अगर MSP को लीगलाइज करना है तो प्रोक्योरमेंट प्राइस को जिंदा करना होगा और बोलना पड़ेगा कि सिर्फ डिस्ट्रेस वाले साल में MSP मिलेगा और वो MSP लीगल हो सकता है, उसमें कोई आपत्ति नहीं. Do I believe I reach you on this? That if we want to legalize MSP, then we will first have to revive procurement price. Tell farmers, look, in a normal year we will give you procurement price. Now what is this procurement price? Higher than MSP, lower than MSP? Not a concern. It can be anything. Whatever is the market price, the government can determine it slightly above the market price or around the market price. So there is no fixed rule that it has to be higher than MSP, lower than MSP. It's the market price, and since it's the market price, it is assumed, and since it's not a distress year, it's assumed that the money is being recovered by the farmers. So that was the idea of this procurement price, and then government can say, all right, if the farmers are willing to take procurement price in a normal year, then in the very abnormal years, MSP will be declared, and that can be made legal. You get the whole discussion now on MSP legality? You understand that? तो ये भी आप नहीं कहेंगे कि MSP को लीगल नहीं बनाना चाहिए, लेकिन MSP को ही लीगल बनाना चाहिए. फिर वो MSP हो, जिसे आज हम MSP बोल के नाम पर चला रहे हैं, वो नहीं. Make MSP the way it was meant in the spirit as legal, and let procurement price be paid in a normal year, and that will not be legal or legally guaranteed. You understand that? So if farmer is in distress, no objections. Give the farmer MSP, purchase the crop. But if there is no distress in the market, also, you know, I'll make you write all this. There is another challenge. We have fixed MSP 1.5 times A2 plus FL. Imagine now, as a farming system, I have no incentive to cut my cost. If I spend 100 rupees, I will get 50 rupees more. But if I spend 200 rupees, I will get 100 rupees more. Incentivizes me to be a high cost business. And high cost businesses can never be efficient. You understand that? ये perverse incentive है. ये सब सुनने में अच्छा लगता है क्योंकि इसको बनाने वाले पैराडॉक्सिकल मैं आपको ये बात पढ़ा रहा हूं, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली ब्यूरोक्रेसी होते हैं. उनको जब स्वामीनाथन कमीशन ने 1.5 टाइम्स C2 कहा था, मैं फिर रिपीट कर रहा हूं, उन्होंने कहा था MSP के लिए जो डिस्ट्रेस में दिया जाए. और अगर मुझसे पूछो तो मैं जिस जॉनर का इकोनॉमिस्ट हूं, मैं तो ये भी नहीं एक्सेप्ट करता हूं. मुझे लगता है 1.5 टाइम्स C2 क्यों? Create an inherent possibility of incentivizing the farmer to cut cost. How do you do that? Tell the farmer we will give you this much money and whatever extra cost you incur is yours. If you incur less than that cost, the profit is yours. You know, incentivize them to cut their cost and produce better. Cost efficiency is something that basic economics teaches us. And then farmers will be more careful about their fertilizer use. They will be more careful about their water use. They will be more careful about what kind of seeds are they using. And they will be more careful about productivity rather than only cost being reduced. How do you produce well at a lesser cost? When you do it efficiently. And what will I focus upon then? I will focus upon all the steps that I have taught you. I know that was long back in Evergreen Revolution. I will focus on those things. I will focus on giving farmers good soil support. I will focus on giving them good seed support, genetically modified crops included. I will focus on giving them good support with respect to irrigation. I will give them support of credit. I will give them support of insurance. I will give them support of crop protection, and I will give them support of marketing. यही आप सीखते थे एवरग्रीन रिवॉल्यूशन में. किसान का इससे भला है मैं इन्वेस्ट कर रहा हूं एग्रीकल्चर में रादर देन सिर्फ सब्सिडाइज कर रहा हूं. तो प्रोडक्टिविटी इंहांस होगी, इनकम बढ़ेगी, छोटे किसान की भी. ये तरीका हमें जाना ही पड़ेगा फाइनली. हम नहीं जाएंगे जब तक, ठीक है हम अपना गड़बड़ करते रह सकते हैं, बट वी विल हैव टू फाइंड अ वे टू गो टू इन दिस डायरेक्शन एंड देन रिड्यूस द पॉपुलेशन प्रेशर ऑन लैंड. And today I've just started, and tomorrow and next class 1 hour, not tomorrow, sorry, tomorrow is holiday because of Holi. So day after tomorrow and then 1 hour next class after that, I will be picking it up. So I'll teach you categorically what all needs to be done. So in case it comes to your mind that, sir, you are speaking so much, how do we register? Well, I will get you registered on that. But important thing is, what I need you to understand is what is the crux of agricultural problem and how do we develop that. So this is the crux, that the problem is lack of productivity, and that can be enhanced not by giving farmers extra cost. इससे तो आप किसान को मना ही नहीं कर रहे कि कम खर्चे कम करो अपने. आप कह रहे हो खर्चे बढ़ाओ, हम तुम्हारे रिवॉर्ड बढ़ा देते हैं. You understand that? And then the next thing that comes in, it's like तुम्हारे मन में एक फिलैंथ्रोपिस्ट उद्वेलना देने लगा होगा, बट अगर नहीं दे रहा तो अच्छी बात है. इसका मतलब तुम ठीक हो. अगर दे रहा है कि नहीं सर किसानों को उनको मिनिमम पैसा तो मिलना चाहिए, यही बात कह रहा हूं कि वो मिनिमम पैसा उनके प्रोडक्टिविटी के लिए मिलना चाहिए, और इस बात के लिए अनुसंधान किया जा सकता है. रिसर्च इज व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. So for that there can be research done that how productivity can be developed. That is the whole idea. But that has to be the crux of the discussion that you need to keep in mind. I always tell people, जब भी कोई कहते हैं यूनिवर्सल बेसिक इनकम बहुत जरूरी है, तो फिर सबसे शुरुआत करो अपने बच्चों के साथ. उनको बोलो कि हम तुम्हें हमेशा के लिए प्रॉमिस करते हैं बेसिक इनकम, तुम कुछ करो या ना करो, कोई कंडीशन मत लगाओ. अपने बच्चों के पीछे हम मुंडी मरोड़ने में लगे रहते हैं. कुछ कर ले भाई, कुछ पढ़ ले भाई, क्या बनेगा लाइफ में, वो वाला फॉर्म भरा या नहीं, ये फॉर्म भर दिया, देख लेना कुछ अच्छा हो जाना चाहिए. क्यों? क्योंकि हम उनको प्यार करते हैं, हम जानते हैं इनको रिस्पॉन्सिबल बनाना है. तो उनको बोलते हैं ठीक है तुम्हें सब्सिडी दे रहे हैं, बट इस सब्सिडी की लाइफ टाइम लिमिटेड है और तुम कोशिश करो जल्दी सेटल हो जाओ. तो दूसरों के बच्चों के समय उनको फ्री में खाना खिलाकर और निकम्मा बना दें, ये बड़ी सही बात है. और बोले ये तो मैं यूनिवर्सल बेसिक इनकम देना चाहता हूं, that those who are very poor should keep getting money irrespective of whether they are able to do something or not. Well, then you are implying that you are willing to keep them in low level equilibrium for a long period of time. So why, and I'm getting closer to inequality, so I'm again reviving it in your mind. But why can't we work on productivity enhancement, skill development, industrialization, employment generation, and make people capable to earn rather than depend on the government that if government pays then I will earn, I'll get money. So always be very careful. हमारे यहाँ, मैं एक सेकंड लूंगा, हमारे यहाँ पॉवर्टी एलिविएशन की सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत आती है कि हमारे यहाँ बहुत लोगों को पॉवर्टी से प्यार है, वो पॉवर्टी को जाने नहीं देना चाहते. तो कहते नहीं तुम गरीब हो तो वैसे ही गरीब रहो, तब तो हम मंगलवार को, बृहस्पतिवार को, शनिवार को आके भीख देंगे, हमारे ग्रह व्रह कटेंगे थोड़े. कोई भिखारी नहीं रहा तो ग्रह कैसे कटेंगे फिर, किसको देंगे? So we love our beggars and we try perpetuating beggary in India. We got to be careful there that we don't do that. And agricultural system, rural system is the best place to start the revolution actually, or reforms. Yes, yes. वही हो ही रहा है. तो तुम सोच के देखो कि जो स्मॉल और मार्जिनल फार्मर है, कायदे से मार्जिनल फार्मर नाम की चीज ही नहीं होनी चाहिए। उनको इकट्ठा करें, फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बनाए, एग्रीकल्चरल कोऑपरेटिव्स बनाए, सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स बनाए। नहीं, तो पिछले 3 सालों में, 4 सालों में अब 3200 फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बन गए इंडिया में, 3200। सक्सेसफुल नहीं हुआ था एग्रीकल्चरल कोऑपरेटिव्स, और वो भी इसलिए क्योंकि कोऑपरेटिव एक्ट क्लियर ही नहीं था कि ओनरशिप राइट जो लैंड की है वो कोऑपरेटिव की होगी या फार्मर की होगी। हाँ, ट्रस्ट भी नहीं था, कास्ट के बेसिस पे डिवाइडेड है हम लोग। और फिर मैं तुम्हें कहूंगा कि कायदे से तो जो जिसके पास 1.5 एकड़ की जमीन है उसकी इनकम मुश्किल से 3,000 साढ़े 3,000 रुपए महीने की है। इससे अच्छा ये इंडस्ट्रियल लेबर हो और 15,000 रुपए, 10,000 रुपए, 8,000 रुपए महीना कमाए। अगेन उसमें कुछ लोग रोमांटिक वर्जन रखते हैं जिनकी तोंद मेरी जैसी होती है कि हमारी तोंद फूल गई ना खा खा के। ओबेसिटी इज ग्रोइंग इशू इन इंडिया। हमारी तोंद फूल गई, हमारा पेट भर गया। So with all this obesity and this whole tummy that I have, people like me would say one more thing. Oh, but that will take away the freedom to operate of the farmer. You want to make the farmer from an agent to a subject, and that fellow will then end up becoming an industrial labor. Nothing can be farther from rubbish for a person who is surviving on 3,000 rupees per month and watching his children die due to abject poverty. उनसे मिले नहीं कभी जिंदगी में, पर उनके बारे में निर्धारित किए। क्या सोच के? जो मार्क्स ने कहा था यूरोप के किसानों के बारे में आज से 140 साल पहले, वो निर्धारित करेगा कि भारत के किसान क्या करेंगे 140 साल बाद। क्योंकि मैंने क्या किया, मार्क्स के ऊपर ही सिर्फ किताब पढ़ा और अब मुझे मार्क्स के अलावा दुनिया नहीं दिखती। ऐसे बहुत लोग मिलेंगे आपको हमारे इकोनॉमिक सिस्टम में। ये प्रॉब्लम पार्ट है। जरूर पढ़ें मार्क्स को, मैंने खुद ही कम से कम 50 किताबें उनके बारे में पढ़ी, उनको बहुत पढ़ा मैंने, ये जानने के लिए कि मैं ऐसा क्या नहीं जानता हूं जिसके लिए मुझे बार बार बोलते हैं कि आप नहीं जानते। I was told very often, whenever there would be an initial debate between me and my wife or her friends, they would say, oh, you have not read on this, you don't know. And that was true, I had not read on it, I was just a master's student. And at Delhi School of Economics, they did not have a lot of marks. I picked up all their readings. I picked up other bibliographies, read entirely on it, so that if somebody wants to debate the whole story, I should have my knowledge base clear as to where Marx was coming from. But we forget that Marx was talking about Western European farmers in 1860s, 50s and 40s who will be very different from Indian farmers in 2005, 10, 20. So we can't have an ipso facto rule for them. I just stopped and told you this क्योंकि ये कहा जाएगा तुम्हें पक्का, कहीं किसी के सामने बोलोगे ना, जो भी होंगे लेफ्टिस्ट थॉट के वो तुम्हें तुरंत बोलेंगे तो तुम चाहते हो कि वो अपना ईमान जो इंडिपेंडेंस है लैंड पर उसे छोड़कर किसी के नौकर बन जाए। जिंदगी बच रही है उससे, उस लैंड पे उनको कोई इंडिपेंडेंस नहीं है। ट्रेडर के गुलाम है, बड़े लैंडलॉर्ड के गुलाम है। आप हालत देख लीजिए, जो छोटे किसान है गांव में उनकी क्या है, जो बड़ा लैंडलॉर्ड है हर गांव में 1 या 2 होते हैं, उनके कहे कि किस बात के खिलाफ ये जा सकते हैं, इनकी हैसियत है। रादर अगर आपके अंदर कोई मार्क्सिस्ट है तो आप जिंदा रखिए, मेरे अंदर भी एक छोटा सा है, उनको इतना पढ़ लिया कि मुझे भी वो अच्छे लगते हैं बहुत बातों में, मैं बस कंटेक्स्ट की बात करता हूं, लेकिन रादर अगर हमें फार्मर्स को अपलिफ्ट करना है तो उनको एक्चुअली इस छोटे किसान को निकालना पड़ेगा इस बात से। we'll have to take them out, we'll have to make them productive. People earning 3,000 4,000 rupees per month will not be strong. We'll have to work on their strength. How do we make it? एक्चुअली ये लोग तो एपीएमसी मार्केट पहुंचते भी नहीं है। मैं तुम्हें कुछ डेटा बताता हूं। 2017-18 इकोनॉमिक सर्वे chapter 5 volume 2, that was the chapter on agriculture, it was saying that 41% farmers in India reported that they did not know MSP. उनको पता ही नहीं था कि MSP नाम की कोई चीज है। 41%, and this is our economic survey just 5 years back. वो रिपोर्ट कर रहे हैं कि 41% किसानों को पता ही नहीं कि कुछ MSP नाम की चीज है। तो ये समझना जरूरी है। और ये 41% कौन होंगे? Who will be these 41%? They will be the marginal and very small farmers. In fact, they did a complete census. 27% farmers did not have any idea that there is something called Food Corporation of India. तो बहुत सारी चीजें एडअप कर रही थी, जो किसानों को भी नहीं पता। तो हमें यह समझना पड़ेगा कि क्या वो सब्सिडी जो हम किसान के नाम पे दे रहे हैं वो पहुंचता भी है या नहीं। इनकम किसकी? जो बड़े किसान हैं। तुम ऐसा सोचो, ये बना एक सुपर सेट, अब इसके अंदर रख लो, ये हो गए कुछ 100 पीपल, इन 100 पीपल की इनकम है 500 रुपीज, और हो गए 3 और लोग, इनकी इनकम है 5000, इनकी इनकम है 4000 और इनकी इनकम है 18000। ठीक है, इस सोसाइटी की इनकम जो है वो पहुंची 50,000 प्लस 18,000 प्लस 4,000 प्लस 5,000। ऑलराइट, अब अगर इनकी इनकम हो जाए 40,000, इनकी इनकम हो जाए 12,000, इनकी इनकम हो जाए 9,000, ठीक है, फिर इनकी इनकम जो है ये अगर 50,000 की जगह 39,000 भी हो जाए, सोसाइटी की इनकम फिर भी बढ़ गई। क्योंकि ये सबसे आसान टारगेटेड पॉइंट हो जाते हैं ना। अगर मैं तुम्हें ना पढ़ाऊं, तुम्हें रिजल्ट के लिए पढ़ाऊं कि अच्छा मेरे बच्चे क्वालिफाई करेंगे, फिर मैं उनकी अच्छी अच्छी फोटो खींचूंगा, फिर उसको लगाऊंगा, बोलूंगा, और बीच में तुम्हारे बैठ भी जाऊंगा, फिर बोलूंगा विभास सर एंड हिज इकोनॉमिक्स ऑप्शनल बैच। ठीक है, अगर मुझे ऐसा करना है, मैं तो, आप मेरे ही बच्चे हो तो मैं आपसे फ्रीली शेयर कर सकता हूं, मैं कुछ लोगों को देखता हूं वो बेचारे टेस्ट सीरीज इसीलिए चलाते हैं, मेरे बच्चों के नाम छापते हैं फिर कि हमारे यहां से भी कोई क्वालिफाई किया। उनकी गलती नहीं, बच्चे नहीं जा रहे उनके पास, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि ये करना ही बेकार है। अगर मैं आपको मेहनत से पढ़ा दूंगा, बात खत्म हो गई, इट शुड गेट ओवर। आई डोंट नीड टू टेस्ट सीरीज करूं, इंटरव्यू सपोर्ट करूं, ये मेरा काम है। आई सपोर्टेड मेनी पीपल इन आईईएस इंटरव्यू and I can guarantee you, because I feel good about it, you will not see me propagating anywhere that these are my children and they have qualified. I never ask them that come over and speak on YouTube that you are my children. I don't do that, because you are my children forever. You qualify or you don't qualify. इस बात से मतलब ही नहीं, तुम क्वालिफाई भी कर जाओगे, तुम्हारी हैसियत मेरे लिए यही रहेगी जो आज है। आज भी प्यार करता हूं, उस वक्त भी करता रहूंगा, बात खत्म है वो। तो मुझे जरूरत नहीं वो फोटो, लेकिन अगर वो लगाना हो तो क्या करूंगा? मैं तुम्हारे सवाल का जवाब देता हूं, फिर मैं चुनूंगा कौन कौन हो रिजल्ट पोटेंशियल। हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू कैन गिव मी रिजल्ट, फिर मैं बस उन्हें ही पढ़ाऊंगा। पक्का रखूंगा कि उनके डाउट्स जरूर हो जाएं, उनको पढ़ा लूं, उनके नाम और फोन नंबर मुझे बाय हार्ट याद हो, क्योंकि पढ़ाते पढ़ाते, मैं आपको ऑनेस्टली बोल रहा हूं, ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टीचिंग विथ एक्सपीरियंस वी डेवलप अ सिस्टम बाय विच वी नो दैट हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू एक्चुअली हैव द टैलेंट टू ब्रेक इट अनलेस समथिंग वेरी रॉन्ग गोज फॉर यू, बट इफ यू रिमेन कंसिस्टेंट यू विल बी एबल टू अचीव इट। वो समझ में आ जाता है कि अच्छा इनका तो हो जाना चाहिए। जब आपको कोई बड़े बोलते हैं तुम्हारा हो जाएगा, कभी लाइटली मत लेना कि अच्छा हमें खुश करने को कह रहे हैं, नहीं, उनको वो दिख रहा है जो हमें नहीं दिख रहा होता। They can see that okay, this fellow has this caliber, तो इसलिए बोलते हैं कि तुम्हारा हो जाएगा, तुम ध्यान से पढ़ना, as long as वो सबको ऐसा ना कह रहे हो। कुछ लोग खुश करने के लिए सबको कहते थे तुम्हारा हो जाएगा, तुम्हारा हो जाएगा, बट सम पीपल आर चूजी, जैसे लोग यू आर गुड। कुछ लोगों के बात करने के तरीके से तुम्हें समझ आ जाएगा कि अच्छा ये मुझसे थोड़े गौर से बात कर रहे हैं, लगता है मुझसे इनको उम्मीदें हैं, उनको लग रहा है तुमसे हैं उम्मीदें उनको। पर यही कह रहा हूं, ये टारगेट आसान हो गया ना, दैट रादर देन टीचिंग 700 पीपल, फोकस ऑन 70, गेट रिजल्ट आउट ऑफ 10, put those 10 in the media space and say, look, I achieved. So that is what happens in poverty alleviation in India also many times. अब उस पे आऊंगा मैं, that how to improve rest. एक बात तो तुम्हें अभी बता रहा था, if you invest in agriculture, फिर तो रेस्ट की बढ़ेगी। इसीलिए एग्रीकल्चरल इन्वेस्टमेंट जरूरी है, फार्मर्स एजुकेशन जरूरी है, लिटरेसी नहीं सिर्फ एजुकेशन जरूरी है, रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट इन फार्मिंग जरूरी है। इसीलिए बार बार एक ही शब्द निकाल रहा हूं, उत्पादकता, प्रोडक्टिविटी, दैट अनलेस यू डोंट मेक पीपल प्रोडक्टिव दे वोंट बी अपलिफ्टेड, दैट इज द आइडिया। ट्रेन देम इनटू फाइनेंशियल सीक्वेंसिंग। सोचो, ये बात चूंकि तुमने पूछा तो अभी बता देता हूं, वरना परसों बताता। जब हम बोलते हैं किसान जो है वो मनी लेंडर पे डिपेंडेंट है, तो लोन वेवर कर देना चाहिए, लेट्स डू अ लोन वेवर बिकॉज द फार्मर इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन मनी लेंडर। नो, हाउ अबाउट दैट, ट्रेन द फार्मिंग किड from the age of 10, 12, 15 that as you become a farmer, and if you have one good crop, and you are able to generate some money, then like we have an employees provident fund and a public provident fund, we will have a farmers provident fund where farmers can contribute even 100 rupees and government will make a matching contribution with an assured 8% return. Why not do it for the farmers? And why not keep it something like 100 rupees so that even small savings can go over there? Incentivize and train people into that. And imagine if a farmer starts doing it at the age of 20 or 21 and starts saving, because normally नहीं तो क्या होता है, farmers don't know what to do with their surplus money. So what do? बच्चे का मुंडन करा दिया, बेटी की शादी करा दी, जिस बच्चे का 2 मुंडन हो गया उसका तीसरा फिर करा दिया, अपना कुछ सेलिब्रेट कर लिया, इन पे खर्च कर देते हैं हम, ढेर सारे कपड़े ले आए उसी साल जिस साल फसल अच्छी हुई. That is the point I'm trying to make to you. Train them into finance, make them save money. Imagine now and understand this. वैसे ये सलाह मैं पैसे लेके देता हूं, लेकिन तुम्हें आज फ्री में दे रहा हूं. अगर तुम अर्न करने लगे, ईश्वर करे तुम जल्दी अर्न करने लगे, और तुम्हारे पास 20,000 सरप्लस बचने लगा, इसको पार्टी में खर्च करने की जगह तुम सेव करने लग जाओ. जैसे ही तुम 20,000 सेव करोगे, वो साल के 2.5 लाख रुपीस हो गए. और 6-7 साल उम्मीद है ऐसी कि इमीडिएटली लोग फैमिली एंड ऑल पे नहीं जाते. 6-7 years you save like this, you have saved around 20 lakh rupees principal and another 15 odd lakh rupees interest. You have a corpus of 35 lakh. Now you have a family, still keep saving because your salary also must have gone up in the meantime. Imagine now if you save like that another 10 years, it will mean you have saved another around 80-85 lakh rupees. Now by the time you are reaching 43-44 year of age, you have a corpus of 1.5 crore rupees. अब तुम सिंघम हो अपने काम में. वैसे ही डायलॉग देते थे ना, मेरा जरूरत कम है इसीलिए मेरा जमीर में दम है. तो ऐसे ऐसे बात बोलते थे ना वो. जरूरत कम करने की जरूरत नहीं है, सेविंग्स बढ़ा लो. जैसे ही आपके पीछे पैसे हैं, आपको पता है कि आप पंचतंत्र के वही चूहा हो जो लटक के जो ऋषि थे उनका पूरा खाना खा जाता था. द पंचतंत्र स्टोरी दैट द माउस वुड गो जंप एंड ईट ऑल द फूड ऑफ द ऋषि. द ऋषि वेंट टू हिज गुरु, said this mouse comes and no matter how high I put my pot, this fellow jumps and takes the food from it. The guru said, come, let me go to your house. Goes to his house, says, where does the mouse come from? So he showed, he says, he comes from this hole. He says, okay, dig up this hole. He started digging up the hole. He said, sir, nothing Guruji. He said, dig it up more. Dug up more. They found a lot of gold coins in that. The guru said, take out these gold coins, remove it from here. Next day onwards, the mouse could not jump. The guru said, money behind you gives you strength to jump higher than your caliber. मैं अपने क्लाइंटेल में भी ऐसे समझाता हूं लोगों को, इसीलिए सेव अर्ली, सेव गुड. Make yourself strong. By the time you are middle-aged, now you are not worried. Somebody can tell you, I'll fire you. Fire me. I'm capable. I'm not insecure anymore. How about doing something similar to our farmers? My point was that. I went into a financial discourse, forget that. But my point was that. How about doing it similar for our farmers, that by the time they reach 10 years of farming, 15 years of farming, they have enough corpus from which they can take money, and they don't have to depend on the village money lender. They even don't have to depend majorly on taking formal loans. Teach them how to save and give them incentive to save. पर इस सब में मेहनत लगती है, ये इन्वेस्टमेंट है, सब्सिडी नहीं है. सब्सिडी इंस्टेंट ग्रेटिफिकेशन देता है. हमारा लोन माफ हो गया. शिवराज सिंह चौहान जी बहुत कॉमनली ऐसा करते हैं. मध्य प्रदेश में एक गांव में जाते हैं, तुम्हारा लोन माफ, तुम्हारा भी माफ. किसान इंतजार करते हैं चीफ मिनिस्टर साहब आएंगे, लोन माफ होगा. That's not healthy for the farmers in the longer run. It creates moral hazard. So just keep it like that in the mind. I hope you're getting some points, and I'll give you more. Let me teach you more agriculture. हाँ बोलो. Yes, soil health card पढ़ाऊंगा मैं. Let me reach there and I'll do an analysis with you. हाँ क्यों? मैंने साथ में कहा फूड प्रोसेसिंग करेंगे, मैंने साथ में कहा फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बनाएंगे, डाइवर्सिफिकेशन करेंगे। व्हीट और राइस ही क्यों ग्रो करें, ऑयल सीड्स ग्रो करें। यही तो बात कर रहा हूं कि यही सब करें। ये स्टैब्लिश कैसे होगा? सबसे पहला काम क्या करना होगा? किसान को एजुकेट करना होगा ना कि ये ग्रो करो। 1 year back, on the current basis, did you have the capacity to even plan UPSC prelims? Over 1 year, at least 50% improvement is there. That's capacity building within 1 year, you can imagine. Starting from almost scratch. We underestimate capacity building. You know, capacity building is something that can be done within 1.5 years, 2 years, and actually things can be developed, provided we are serious about developing it. Can you imagine? We have made more roads in the last 5 years in spite of COVID pandemic compared to what we made between 1947 and 1997. That's capacity building if you ask me. Road mein Nitin Gadkari ji hain, serious minister, got it done. So you need people serious about uplifting others, and we can get it done. The bureaucracy would have its, nahi. Again, understand this. Increased production is getting wasted because it is increased production of only wheat and rice. On the other hand, we are importing edible oil. What logic is that? And we are importing pulses. Redirect production. You understand that? That is the idea. All right. Holland से मंगा के वो flowers होते हैं जो आप लोग देते हो एक दूसरे को. हमारे अपने देश में flowers grow हो सकते हैं. Now we are talking about Krishi Udan, Krishi Rail. This is the right talk to do, and then implement, not only talk. Now coming to this, further things. So when we talk about procurement price, this has been forgotten as I told you. Then there is another called issue price. This is price at which Food Corporation of India releases food grains to the market. So remember, MSP or procurement price, at whichever price you have taken your food, plus cost of transportation, plus cost of storage, minus issue price is food subsidy. This is food subsidy formula for India. Cooperative farming can be developed in India, but I suggest there can be more things like farmer producer organizations or self-help groups of the farmer that can happen better. Yes, I agree with you. For cost cutting, government needs to put proper infrastructure, no doubt about it. Yes, reforming MSP will lead to protest, and that is what the job of a good leader, no? Making sure that that protests can be controlled by talking to people. Middlemen earn their income the way retailers and wholesalers earn their income. Vigneshwaran, I am answering your question. 22 crore HH is household. Average land holding size is 1.08 hectares. No, it is, there is a question I am answering, that is there any way to institutionalize targeted MSP only to poor farmers? Not possible, because the data is not available so openly. Disguised unemployment may or may increase the subsidy bill, but not much. Yes, explicit rent will be included. I hope people online, you have your doubts answered. Okay, let's see this then. I hope you have taken these down by now. Okay, let's, yes. वो उस सारी चीज को एडमिनिस्टर कैसे करोगे? और मैंने जो 3 लेवल बनाए हैं, वो 3 लेवल एग्जैक्टली उसी तरह फंक्शन कर रहे हैं या उस 3 के अंदर 15 और बन गए, ये पता नहीं कर पाऊंगा ना मैं. एक रूरल इंडिया इमेजिन करो, कौन किससे खरीद रहा है कैसे पता करोगे? तुम कैसे पता करोगे कि रूरल इंडिया में किसने किससे खरीद लिया? लैंड तक आइडेंटिफाइड नहीं है। डेटा इज अ बिग इशू, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इज अ बिग इशू, और मैं तो करप्शन की अभी बात तक नहीं कर रहा। इसमें करप्शन डालें फिर तो मामला और खराब हो जाता है। So we need to formalize agriculture. That's very important. All right, you take this up now. You write, I hope you understand the idea of food subsidy. I will do this food subsidy analysis one more time. Right now I'm doing analysis of mainly agricultural procurement price and MSP price analysis. I'll do this food subsidy analysis one more time when I'm teaching you poverty, because that is where PDS will be there, and in PDS I'll do that analysis about food subsidy. For the time being, you write a point. You write challenges of price subsidy in India. Challenges of price subsidy in India. First point you write in that, it has resulted in, when I am saying price subsidy, I am mainly implying MSP. Alright, it has resulted in increasing inequality among different regions, because procurement has been uneven. Procurement has been uneven due to infrastructure presence. Procurement has been uneven due to infrastructure presence. This I had discussed with you even in Green Revolution, that procurement has been uneven in India, in Punjab, Haryana, Western UP, Tamil Nadu, parts of Andhra Pradesh, especially the coastal Andhra Pradesh. Procurement is quite good, mainly because of good infrastructure on APMC markets established. In places like Bihar, Assam, Jharkhand, procurement is bad. In Bihar, APMC was removed in 2005, replaced by primary agricultural credit societies, PSES. But it didn't make a huge difference. The system still remains same. The procurement has still not been huge. So that means that some states which have good infrastructure can procure better, get a larger chunk of subsidy. Imagine out of around 2 lakh crore rupees of food subsidy that government gives in India, close to around 60% of it goes to Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. These 5 places cover 60% of this, 65% of it. That's huge if you look at that number. Then you write next one, second, it does not provide large benefit to small and marginal farmers, as they have less surplus and less ability to sell in the market. Therefore, it increases Therefore, it increases interpersonal inequality. Interpersonal here means between large farmer and small farmer. Interpersonal means between large farmers and small farmers. Third, you write, it is given on a cost plus basis. It is given on a cost plus basis, which means there is less incentive to reduce cost, less incentive to reduce cost and focus on productivity. Then next you write, it distorts cropping pattern. It distorts cropping pattern, comma, encouraging production of wheat and rice, because there is open procurement and discourages several high value crops. Next you write, it puts large burden of subsidy on government. It puts large burden of subsidy on government. Large burden of subsidy on government. Comma, food subsidy bill has remained consistently above rupees 2 trillion in the last 4 years. Next you write, APMC markets are controlled by traders who have oligopolistic power, due to which farmer is deprived of correct prices. Correct prices 5:45 तक पढ़ा के बोलूंगा बुरा ना मानो ओली। आइडिया ठीक दिया ऐश्वर्या तुमने। वही तो कह रहा हूं, तो 5:45 तक पढ़ा देता हूं। आज तो कोई बुरा मानेगा नहीं। ये तो सीधा धमकी देने पे उतर आया है। तुम करके दिखाओ, रंग उड़ा दूंगा मैं। Okay, you take this up, then next point. Almost 50% of wheat and rice, almost 50% of wheat and rice, and more than 75% of other crops in MSP, more than 75% of other crops in MSP are not procured by FCI, are not procured by FCI, due to which there is deprivation, for large number of farmers. And then you write one more. It creates ecological unsustainability. It creates ecological unsustainability by promoting production of water intensive crops like paddy and sugarcane. Okay, these are the things that we face on MSP and related issues. This is also an answer if they ask you what are the problems in agricultural pricing policy in India. All right, in those cases you will highlight what is MSP, what is issue price, what is support procurement price, and then you will highlight what are the issues we see accordingly. Now you take the next thing up, you write irrigation subsidy. State governments select them through tendering process. So there are tenders issued, people fill those tenders, there are terms and conditions, and the state government will select them. They are trading houses actually within the state. These people. Yes. All right. Then you write within that, within irrigation subsidy, understand this. There are 2-3 ways in which irrigation subsidy is given in India. So, one is canal irrigation subsidy. 2-3 ways in which subsidy is given in India. So, one is canal irrigation subsidy. When we say canal irrigation subsidy, 18% of total irrigation subsidy in India is through canal irrigation. How is this subsidy given? Expenditure on construction of canal plus repair and maintenance of canal plus expenditure on culverts to connect canal to the field minus revenue recovered from farmers. So this is canal irrigation subsidy. कलवर्ट्स होते हैं जो खेत को जोड़ते हैं, जो तुम्हारा जो मेन प्लेस है, जो नहर है उससे, उसको कलवर्ट्स कहते हैं। ठीक है, जैसे जैसे ये मान लो तुम्हारा नहर हो गया, हर गांव के साथ एक नहर बहती है, उससे पानी आता है, फिर ये तुम चैनल्स बनाते हो ना खेतों तक जाने के लिए, ये कलवर्ट्स हो जाते हैं। ठीक है, हाँ मेड़, ठीक है, ऑल राइट। देन the other form of subsidy is groundwater irrigation. This is expenditure or subsidy on installation of groundwater extracting units, इन्हें ट्यूबवेल्स, बोरवेल्स ऐसे बुलाया जाता है वैसे, but there are more also. All right, so expenditure on installation of groundwater extracting unit, all right, expenditure on installation of groundwater extracting unit plus electricity subsidy for water extraction. Electricity subsidy for water extraction. This is a dominant subsidy system in India, dominant. This is responsible for almost 77% of total irrigation subsidy in India. You know, this groundwater irrigation subsidy is responsible for almost 77% of total water irrigation subsidy in India. All right, 77% of total subsidy in India. It is on installation of groundwater extracting units plus electricity subsidy for water extraction. All right, so this is 77% of groundwater extraction subsidy in India. All right, that is what it lies. In some places, farmer pay a fee for using the canal water. All right, that is the revenue recovered from farmers. Now, yes. Well, ideally we should not, but this is the populism again, that when you don't give that, people get upset, so we try giving that. Yes, no, so the money won't be paid, but the shallow water issue does come up, no doubt. But if the tube well is for irrigation purposes, then they have three options to choose from. They can choose another place where the tube well can be dug, or 75% money is paid back, or the money can be kept for future use if they want a tube well at some future period of time. Normally, देखो क्या होता है, ये ट्यूबवेल सब्सिडी इंडिया में जो रिवराइन एरियाज हैं वहाँ बहुत फेमस होते हैं, तो वाटर टेबल ऑलरेडी हाई है, मतलब बहुत कम, खाली दुआ भी नहीं, जैसे अगर तुम देखो जो तुम्हारे वेस्ट बंगाल के तरफ या साउथ इंडिया में तमिलनाडु, महाराष्ट्र, इन सभी की तरफ जो रिवराइन एरियाज है, जहाँ रिवर जा रहा है, जहाँ रिवर नहीं है या सी नहीं है, वहाँ वाटर टेबल कमजोर होता है, तो वहाँ पे डीपर वेसल्स के अलाउ किया हुआ है, दैट यू कैन डिग डीपर टू एक्सट्रैक्ट वाटर. जैसे नॉर्मली 60 फीट अलाउड होता है, इन जगहों पे जो ड्राई एरियाज है वहाँ 200 फीट तक अलाउड है. So then you start getting that water. Important thing is that rather than training farmers into using groundwater, they should also be trained in recharging groundwater using methods of local area irrigation like pond development, river development, rejuvenating the pond, rejuvenating the river, water harvesting. ये करने से सस्टेनेबिलिटी बढ़ती है. अगेन अगर तुम देखोगे जो मैंने तुम्हें एवरग्रीन रिवॉल्यूशन में लिखवाया था, तो ये पॉइंट्स हम लोग लिख रहे थे इरिगेशन के साथ. ऑलराइट, नाउ सी, सो दैट्स अनदर. नाउ सी, area covered under canal irrigation with respect to gross cropped area is approximately 17%. Groundwater irrigation, there is no full-fledged data available, but people suggest it is close to 31%. The census and all suggest that. And other methods are close to 4% of gross cropped area. Assured irrigation in India is only over 48% of gross cropped area. All right. Now see, a third mode of irrigation subsidy, which is not very dominant but present in India, is payment of installation charges for drip irrigation and sprinkler irrigation. Payment of installation charges for drip irrigation and sprinkler irrigation. All right. Now, there are two people who asked me about why Bihar did not succeed in spite of removing APMC from Bihar. I'll answer this. Let me reach the talk. When I reach here, I'll answer this. But for once, we removed APMC and replaced it by PSCS. So there was no liberalization of agriculture in Bihar. Always remember that. It was not that agriculture got liberalized and now the farmers could sell to the market directly. It was just that APMC was replaced by PSCS. So the system did not change as much as what looks like when you say APMC was removed. All right, keep that in mind. But let me teach you that sequentially. Let me reach the end of agricultural part where you will get me better as to why India has not been able to do well in spite of certain things that we have changed. Now, some of the major challenges we face here. Now in GS they have asked this question once. In optional they have asked it twice. The question is that what is the perverse impact of agricultural subsidy in irrigation in India? Alright, GS में तो agricultural subsidy in general पूछा था. तो food, irrigation, fertilizer सभी आ गए. Optional में एक बार उन्होंने पूछा था that irrigation को improve कैसे कर सकते हैं इंडिया में और subsidy देने का तरीका सही है या गलत है. Is it correct to give subsidy in irrigation? And how do we improve irrigation subsidy in India? Again, I will keep giving you the answer to this. But first of all, how do we improve irrigation system in India? The answer I had given you with Evergreen Revolution. That standard answer remains. The demand side control and the supply side methods. Why irrigation subsidy like this is a problem in India? I am making you write that. And when I will teach you PM Kusum, and other schemes of government, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana and Kusum Yojana, then I will be able to tell you what steps have been taken and can be further taken to improve irrigation system in India. All right, that is how we will proceed. So right now, I'm just taking you into this talk. You write challenges. Okay, you just give the heading. I won't push you much on that. Yeah. इतने बढ़िया से thank you तो कभी नहीं कहा. Anyways, no sir, I'll keep you here. But you just write challenges, or can we just spend 5 minutes, finish this off? And I literally mean 5 minutes. Perfect, I love you. You're right. अब तो तुमने wish भी कर दिया, अब तो पढ़ाना पड़ेगा. So you write challenges of irrigation subsidy in India. Challenges of irrigation subsidy in India. All right. You take this. There would be a person at Delhi school who would do this. When I was teaching there, whenever I would tell them 5 minutes more, just 5 minutes, and I'll finish this topic. And she would sit right in the front row and she would say, "Your time starts now, sir." That's wonderful that I'm put on that leash. Your time starts now, sir. Let's see this. So you take this up, you write, first point. Canal irrigation has resulted in extra cost for the government, as recovery from farmers is very low. Extra cost for the government as recovery from farmers is very low. Actually almost negligible. Barring few places in Himachal Pradesh and few places in Rajasthan, there is hardly any recovery from canal irrigation in India. Alright, so recovery is negligible from canal irrigation. Second, you write, तुम इस मोल्ड में मुझे बड़े अच्छे लगते हो, कोई सवाल ही नहीं पूछेंगे हम। और तुम भी जो एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हो तुम्हें देखेंगे ही नहीं। तुम अपना मूर्तियों से बात करो, जल्दी खत्म करो, आप मुझे ऐसे देख रहे थे। हाँ ठीक है, चलो आगे। All right, you write the second one then. Due to second point, yeah. Due to shortage of resources and corruption in irrigation department, there is less fund available for maintenance and repair of canals, less fund available for maintenance and repair of canals, leading to wastage of water. You know, it results in siltation, it results in water passing through the cracks, and that's wastage of water. All right. Third, you write, no, it is doing irrigation. The point is that these are the challenges. So when we are giving irrigation, let's try overcoming that. Like it doesn't mean hence we should not do it. It means that hence we should solve the challenges that we are having. Third, you write, groundwater irrigation has led to over extraction and depletion of water table. Fourth, it has, by it I mean irrigation subsidy. Alright, it's both for groundwater as well as for canal, applies on both. It has resulted in poor cropping pattern and lack of crop diversification. crop diversification. And then one more you write. It has resulted in discouraging. It has resulted in discouraging investment to improve local sources like ponds, comma, local river, tanks, etc. वाटर टैंक की बात कर रहा हूं, tanks, etc. which is more useful for sustainable agriculture. All right, I'm done on things. इससे पहले कि आप में से कोई फट जाए मैं रुक ही जाता हूं. Then I'll see you day after tomorrow. We'll begin with fertilizer subsidy. Thank you and a very happy Holi to all of you. No, canals are maintained by irrigation department, Lydia. Happy Holi to all of you, people online, Lydia, Arushi, and all those who mentioned me earlier too. Yes, we are incentivizing them to exploit groundwater Sejal. That's a bad thing, no doubt. Recovery is revenue taken from farmers, Devik. Perfect, Aman. Thanks a lot. Yes. Made a rule in the beginning because it was a fear that since the government is not directly buying, the sugar mills may not pay the farmers. Issue price. Now it is zero under Food Security Act. That is, people still growing a lot of rice, a lot of sugarcane, a lot of wheat because of extra irrigation available even in dry regions. All right. Okay, people online, very happy Holi to you. I'll see you tomorrow, a day after tomorrow, 2:50. Thank you.